This programme is brought to you by Taom Billiards.
Evening. Welcome back to live sports on Freesports in the UK for the first time since the beginning of lockdown. It's been 3 months of the strangest times that this country and indeed the world has ever seen. But tonight we take our very first tentative steps towards something like a sporting normality. We return with pool. Welcome to the Super Series. A very good evening then, ladies and gentlemen. It is sport, but of course not quite as we know it. You'll notice a few changes to how we usually run things around here in the pool on Freesports. We'll of course have no crowd, and there'll be several other changes you'll pick up on throughout the show to ensure that everyone is as kept as safe as possible. On the table, though, is where our focus is going to lie, and there's good reason for that. 16 of the country's finest players up against not only each other, but also the clock to contend with as well. We kick off tonight with the reigning world champion. Very good evening, everyone. Stephen Jameson here, live with you on Free Sports alongside Simon Webb. We are back, Simon. Not quite as we know it, or not quite as close as we usually are, but it's lovely to be back and lovely to have you with us for some pool. At last, pool is back.
Yeah, I can't wait. Very excited to get the pool back on action. It's been a long time coming, and it's great to be back.
Different competition, a brand new competition. This is the Super Series. 16 of the country's very finest players all going head-to-head in a shootout format to take home the grand final prize of a cool £3,000. Plenty of talent on offer. There's already some mouth-watering matches in that draw, Simon. Which takes your fancy immediately off the board?
Well, we had to be limited with the players that could be invited into the event, players that are in this country and able to travel to this event. But within that, we have some big names. 4 world champions and the current world champion. And, of course, we've got Jon Shepherd, who is the star of the shootouts, as well as Simon Fitzsimmons with what he did at the shootout grand final in winning that in extremely grand fashion. So there is some big names all the way across the draw.
There certainly is. Let's hear from our two opponents tonight. We've got Jon McAllister and Zak Shepherd, and earlier Simon caught up with them.
Hi Jon, great to have you here at the Super Series. Before we get into tonight's pool and what you've been doing in lockdown, I really want to just get a background on how you got into pool.
Basically, just when I was a youngster, I just I used to go to the club with my dad really most weekends. And just sort of picked it up from there really. They sort of seen that I had a little bit of a natural talent really, so yeah, it just really kicked on from there. Great to have you here, Zak. Before we start talking about tonight and this event, I just want to get a sense of your sort of pooling background. How did you get into the sport?
So when I was like 16, 17, we used to have a caravan down Swansea. There was like a local club there called Morriston. Started playing the junior academy, and then coming through, like when I was younger at snooker, there was a lot of good players. I really got pushed out a bit. I started playing pool, and I probably love pool more than I do snooker now, and played ever since.
Did you play more junior than that at snooker or any other sort of key sports?
So I played like under 18 snooker, like the Welsh tour and all that, but I had a lot of good players like Jack Jones, Dwayne Jones, all on the pro tour now. Keishan played this week on the snooker, and they were too good for me at the time. They're like too good now, so I went over to the pool and then loved it ever since.
You picked out at quite a young age as somebody that had a lot of talent, so there's always been a lot of expectation on you. Is that something you've had to deal with as you've gone through the junior ranks through your England career?
When I first started, I was just playing for the enjoyment at the time. I think when I first signed up for county, I think it was like 2 years before I even played my first match. So just really happy to sort of keep at it, and then my chance really came in the end.
Obviously, this is the first time we're going to see you since that great day in February when you won the world title. What's things been like for you since winning the world title?
Yeah, it was a mad 4 weeks, I'd say, after winning the title. Really, yeah, your phone never really stops going. So yeah, I was obviously buzzing when I actually won the event. And then yeah, luckily I continued my form into Bournemouth, lost in the pro final, and then yeah, since then really it's just sort of yeah, gone into lockdown really. But I've been working at the same time, so it sort of kept me on my toes a little bit.
And you love All-Pool because you're obviously well known for going out and playing in China and playing World Rules and now playing Black Ball. How do you find mixing the different codes of the game?
I just like 8-ball, so I like the patterns of 8-ball and the game, and it is on different tables and all that, but I just see the patterns, I like the game, and it's just love playing 8-ball really, and I adapt quite easy.
Is it easy to adapt with in China, obviously different size balls, different size tables, different size cues? Is that hard to adapt? It
is, like it's a lot of hard work, especially when I go to China. It takes a few months out of my time, like practicing, getting used to the bigger ball, especially how it reacts, but I put the hours in, so it's good.
Have you been able to practice at all during lockdown?
I haven't picked my cue up since the club shut, basically, so it's been quite a while, so I need a practice before this starts, otherwise it could get quite embarrassing.
So you've been working during the lockdown period, and Jeff, one of your big supporters, Jeff, he was telling me that you're doing some bits and pieces for the NHS?
Yeah, so we have a contract with Unipart for the NHS, so they asked if anyone wanted to sort of volunteer and go and help out in the call centre. So yeah, I decided instead of yeah, working from home, it sort of at least gets me out of the house a little bit. Yeah, something to sort of get up for in the morning. So yeah, just happy to sort of try and keep it as normal as possible really, and then yeah, sort of hopefully get back to normal as soon as possible.
When it comes to normal, how much time have you been putting on the practice table? Have you been playing much pool at all?
Last couple of weeks I've been able to practice a little bit more, so my game seems to be in reasonable shape, but like I say, I think it's until you actually get onto the match table, it's yeah, you never really know.
Do you think you're going to, not having the match practice and not having the competition practice will affect you? You know, 3 months is quite a long time to go without a competitive match.
Yeah, I think I've sort of got the rustiness out of me really. So until I turn up tonight and actually get on the table, I wouldn't be 100% sure. But yeah, I think my game's in reasonable shape. So hopefully it just yeah, goes my way.
You played in the shootout before. You played Jon before in the shootout. How excited to be back in the shootout? Yeah,
it's good. I like the format. I got quite lucky when I played the Newbury event. I qualified into it and I won about 5 matches at the shootout format, and it's probably the best I've ever played pool-wise. So like I like the format. It's quite disappointing last time when I played Jon. I missed a couple of chances. So I'm looking forward to like trying to redeem that today.
30 seconds is quick. 15 seconds is incredibly quick. How difficult to adapt to 15 seconds a shot?
I don't really mind it too much. I'm not as slow as the players, but I'm not the quickest. But I like that aspect of the game, knowing when to be quicker, slower the game down, etc. I like the aspect of that, and it's a really exciting format. So I'm looking forward to it.
You don't really have time to think. Is it just instinct?
I think that's what helps most of the time, because I'm just a bit natural like that. I think it just helps me just to play my first instinct and go for it. So.
And this is the second taste of a shootout event for you. Obviously, you played in Newbury and you made it through to the semi-finals. You know, you looked really good that day. How excited to get back into a shootout format? Yeah,
I really enjoyed the format. Obviously, first time playing. Narrowly lost out to Jordan in the final. Yeah, hoping to go one better sort of thing. But obviously, it is over a long period of time now, so you've got to keep your form up for a lot longer, really. So yeah, just going to take one game at a time and then see how it goes.
And a word for your opponent. Have you played him much before?
Well, I played him in the first round of the shootout actually, so I think that was the very first time I played him. So yeah, obviously I know sort of what to expect with Zak, but yeah, just hopefully the result goes the same way.
Well, best of luck tonight.
Cheers, Simon.
Play a lot of different sports, different versions of the game, as I've already mentioned. What sort of goals do you have going forward?
I've got a lot of goals on the table, off the table, especially with the work with the committees, with like the Welsh and World Federation. Especially on the table, I want to win like a world title or big European title with Wales. I enjoy like the team aspect. Singles wise, like I enjoy it, but I put a bit less pressure on myself now moving forward. Like I kind of push myself towards that now. So anything else is a goal.
Well, I wish you all the best for tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well, really interesting to hear from both of our players competing tonight in the Super Series here on Freesports. Interesting as well, especially for me, so that Zak's not picked up a cue since the club shut 3 months ago. I mean, pool players, like any players of a sport need that practice, need that timing down. That's going to be tough.
It's going to be very difficult. Of course, he's up against the world champion, which makes it even harder. But to have not touched your cue for 3 months, not have practiced, and I know he's a guy that likes to practice a lot, he's going to find it very difficult.
And we're used, of course, to black ball rules here on Free Sports, but we're playing shootout format tonight, which hasn't been seen a huge amount. It's still relatively new to Free Sports. So when we talk about a shootout, it really is entertainment from the off. What makes it so good and different?
It's pretty much black ball rules. There are a couple of modifications within there. There's the golden break, so you can make the black off the break and win the frame. If you make the black off the break and pop the white, you lose the frame. But the biggest difference is the shot clock. It's not just 30 seconds a shot. After 15 minutes in each set, it goes down to 15 seconds a shot. And of course, it's a race to 5 in each set, and each set is 30 minutes. So if we don't get to 5 frames within that 30, whatever the score is the score in the set.
It's all set for a beautiful return to action here. Live sport is on its way on Free Sports. It's next. Oh, welcome back to Free Sports Live. Pool is on its way for you. Super Series, Jon McAllister taking on Zak Shepherd. And we see one of the differences in this socially distanced version of the game that we are, of course, taking part in tonight, as we have solo lags. The players are going to spend as much time apart from each other as possible. Only one player and the referee in the room at any one time, as part of a process that was able to get the game back as true to itself as we could, Simon.
Absolutely, trying to keep the players apart as much as possible. Of course, they're all going to be, touching the table and things like that at times, but it is trying to keep them apart. Stick to the social distancing, the way they come in and out the arena. We're going to make sure that because they're not going to be passing each other, that sort of thing. And the lag's one of the things that had to change. They can't both be playing a shot at the table at the same time, so they tossed to see who would lag first and who would lag second. And Jon has won the lag, and he will break first.
We see our referee and player in shot there. There's no one else in the room. All the cameras are robotic. Myself and Simon are certainly not in the room, despite our virtual presence right here. Everyone's temperature is checked upon arrival at the venue, studio here in the West Midlands, and all of this is just to be able to have that feeling of safety for everyone, to be able to do this as properly as we could, because I think amongst the players, Simon, there was an eagerness to get back, but a feeling that it had to be done right and properly.
Definitely, I think the players are just keen to get out there and get playing, and they've left it to Free Sports and the broadcasters to make sure everything is done correctly, and there's been a lot of time and energy and effort gone in to make sure that this is done as safely as is possible.
First break of the match then comes from the reigning world champ, Jon McAllister, and he's straight in at the balls here, which he will be delighted with. First break of a match, always an important one. Helps a player just get their toe into the water, get the temperature.
And one thing you find with the top players, they seem to start matches quicker than other players. They'll find a way, make a big break in the first frame, get off to a good start. On this occasion, Jon's got some work to do. He's got two reds that really don't have any pockets at all. If he's going to go for a finish here, he's got a lot of work to do.
And of course, due to the rules here with the shootout, not a huge amount of time with which to conduct that work. The set counter is already counting. Half an hour for this set. We will take the results at the end of that half an hour regardless.
Unless a player gets to 5 frames first.
Yes.
But I think it's definitely a dynamic that really adds to the pool. It's another thing that the player has to think about. No, I don't think Jon was trying to pop that ball. He was just trying to cover the pocket. He had nowhere to go. He didn't get the angle on the ball he needed to be able to develop either the ball in the middle of the table or the one on the bottom rail. So he was trying to cover the pocket and turn the table over.
So 30 seconds per shot, and then when we get to the 15-minute stage of the set, it gets a little bit spicier. Half the time with which to conduct your thinking.
Yeah, I was still a player when 30 seconds was being talked about. I remember the first event on Free Sports that had a clock was 45 seconds, and that felt quite short for the players. And then 30 was brought in, and that felt even quicker. And all of a sudden, the shootout comes along, and it's 15 seconds a shot, and the players, they really have to just play off instinct. 15 seconds is not a lot of time at all.
We're into a kind of safety battle already. That's the clock that the players can see inside the venue. Keep them on time. Also hear some sound effects which will give them, in no uncertain terms, an indicator of how many seconds they've got left, should it come to that point.
And those of you that have watched the shootout on Free Sports in the past, of course, the crowd would normally be letting them know. They'd be counting down each shot with every time they hear the beeps as well. So they won't have that on this occasion, but there's plenty of screens and noises to guide them along the way. In fact, in pool, one of the big things was the clock going onto the screen. Shot clocks has always been a part of pool, but it's normally a referee calling out the time. Putting the clock on the screen gives the player full control, so they can really see how long they've got.
Well, an intriguing safety battle going on in this bottom corner pocket. Neither player wants to pot, which is quite a strange way to start up this shootout series.
No, it's normally fast and furious, but we do get the odd frame like this. They do come along. The balls are just not there for a clearance, and Jon did the right thing in pulling back in his opening visit, and it's now trying to have a bit of a tactical battle to see who can get the advantage, who can earn the opportunity. The problem you have is the player that goes for it, if they do not get the clearance when they eventually go for it, they are handing the table over to their opponent with a much better opportunity. So patience can be the key. Jon just trying to tie the black up, make it even harder for Zak, who's... Of course, we've got this impact where you've got the skill shot, so there is the opportunity to pot a yellow here and try and pop red over the pocket and open things up. He doesn't have the angle on this occasion.
Does have that air of typicality about this, Simon, that we've built this tournament up so much, and within the pool community, obviously the first competition back, everyone's buzzing to be in it and to watch it, and it is the fastest format pool that you could possibly see, and the first frame is a very cagey safety battle.
It is typical, isn't it? It really is. We're going to see lots of fast and furious pool throughout this event.
We'll see it tonight, I'm sure, between these two players, but they're just simmering away before they come to the boil. And part of the structure of the competition is we'll see 2 players a night, 1 match a night here on Free Sports for the next 5 evenings. And we take a bit of a break and return to conclude the rest of round 1 and indeed into the quarters, semi and the final.
Yeah, 16 players in total. Some big names in those 16 as well. That helps things just a little bit. There's an opportunity here for Zak if he wants to take it on. He can pop this yellow to the bottom right and screw across the table and try and open up the bottom left-hand corner. The rest of the yellows aren't too bad, so he may well feel this is his opportunity to be aggressive. It's a pot that he can't miss. That's a great shot. This is now the opportunity that he wanted. That's one of the big things with black ball pool. That skill shot allows players to really open up frames, turn frames around that are going negatively or you're losing or that aren't going your way. One big shot can earn you an opportunity. Although he won't be happy with that one.
Yeah, I was just thinking the way the balls were laid out, they were open there for Zak, but it required that element of tight positional play to be really precise, to be able to make the angles on these 3 yellows in the middle in particular. And when you're as out of practice as he admitted to us earlier that he was, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, one of those positional shots where precision was the key. If he could have landed well, it's irrelevant now that he's making a great shot to the top corner. It's the one thing that will go. He's not going to miss too many balls, but through lack of playing, it's going to be the precision of working around the table and landing with the white.
Yeah, brand new table in the venue as well, and it'll run pretty quick.
Beautiful black ball table. Had a little knock on it this afternoon. First time I've touched my cue since I retired and since I stopped playing. And yeah, really enjoyed it. The table was playing beautifully. A lovely pace. Once the players get going on this, I think they're really going to enjoy it.
Did it make you miss it at all, Simon, with that little knock up earlier?
A little bit, but then I missed a couple of pots and I knew I'd made the right decision, so it was fine. Well, Zak's just landed with a bit of a problem here. He wanted to be about an extra good 6 inches, maybe even a foot further down the table. He could have been as far as 1.5 foot, 2 foot and been fine. This is not a great angle. It looks like the white's going to be coming close to the red and yellow that are together, so landing on this last yellow is actually going to be really difficult. He had to play the cannon because of it, and he's played it beautifully.
I mean, that's the best result possible, isn't it? It could not have played that any better. And he came into this opening match as the underdog, Zak Shepherd, but he is going to take the first frame of the Super Series against the break as well.
Yeah, he won the tactical exchange. Won the tactical exchange, gave himself an opportunity, and then made the clearance. There was a couple of points in there where I thought the lack of sharpness was going to be his undoing, but he's come up with the next shot, and he's got the frame on the board.
Yeah, he'll be delighted with that. And again, we take a look at the draw, and you mentioned 4 world champions. There's just quality all the way through that lineup, isn't there? And a couple of matches that immediately jump out, and Gareth Hibbett Chris Day is a great contest. Can't wait to watch Gareth Hibbett in shootout format especially. So many good matches there.
Yeah, we've got that one coming for you tomorrow as well. But Gareth, a former world champion, 2016 he won the world title, as well as winning the doubles and the seniors a year later. One of the greatest players in the game. Looking forward to seeing him play.
Gets a ball. So Zak Shepherd will be at the table, and upon first viewing, I think he'll be pretty pleased with that as well.
Much better split of the balls for Zak. This is an opportunity to go for the clearance. Doesn't need to think about the tactics this time. They're all there. Mapped out quite nicely for him. Needs to land nicely when he transitions from the top of the table down to the bottom of the table. If he lands nicely, probably in an ideal world would like to be on the yellow above the black, but he has choices, bottom left corner and right centre pocket. So he has plenty of margin for error. Great opportunity for 2-0. The key shot for me. If he can land nicely on the next ball, he can make his work routine.
Well, we talked about that positional shot at the end of the last frame as being perfect. That was right at the other end of the spectrum for Zak Shepherd, and he's now in all kinds of bother.
Yeah, he's played this with a little trace aside, and obviously trying to avoid the red and slide by it and have a choice. But I thought he may play that more plain ball, come two cushions and try and land on the one above the black, which would have made things really simple for him. He could still cut that in, and now he is perfect.
Recovery, his recovery ability is still there. Just able to get that in and get position.
He didn't have too much idea of where the white was going to go off that red. I suspect he was probably hoping he would land or hit the red full and keep the white on the bottom right-hand corner, but he would not have hoped to land better than this.
This should be done and dusted at this stage. 3 relatively simple pots for Zak Shepherd, which with these tight shot clocks is something you'd love to have at this stage. You don't want a complicated pattern to figure out at the business end of a frame when that beep starts going.
It's the key, trying to keep the game as simple as possible. The more you have to think about it, the more the shot clock's going to be a problem. This will be our first break and dish of the event, and there'll be plenty more.
It's been a really solid start from Zak Shepherd, all things told. And in it goes, 2-zip for Zak Shepherd, nice and easily done. Couple of hairy moments for the Welshman in both of the frames, but his ability to recover has shown itself in spades there. Take a look at his recent tournament history. It's just the IPA tour that we're looking at there, but as you alluded to in your interview, Simon, he's a player who travels the world across various different formats of the game, and very well regarded because of that. It's never easy to transition across.
There was a rule change halfway through last year which allowed players to play in different codes of the game in English pool, And he was one of the players that chose not to play in the World Rules version of the game, and he's now kind of come across and he's going to play everything. So the graphic we saw there showed his World Championship performance, but he has joined the IPA Tour full-time as an amateur, and we'll see him plenty more for sure.
I do often think it's actually quite an underestimated part of Jon McAllister's game is the break. We always think of, you know, shot-making ability, is smoothness around the table, but no one is a world champion without a good break, and I think his almost gets a little bit underappreciated because it's just sort of so solid, it doesn't really get thought about.
You never hear anyone really talk about Jon McAllister's break at all. It's a very solid break, although that wasn't the best shot that Jon would have wanted. He's made a yellow awkward. Yellow above the black's now a problem ball. And he's just getting to the point halfway through this opening set where he's going to start to worry about being 2-0 behind.
Well, we talk about that shot-making ability. It showed his imagination there taking on that double, but it was tough. And Zak Shepherd, once again, is at the table. We're about to reach the 15-minute mark as well in this set, which means the shot clock will divide into 15 seconds then per shot for each of these players. It's a good job Jon McAllister's got his shiny shoes on. He's going to need to fly around the table if he's to have any chance of getting enough frames on the boards to match Zak here, if Zak can clean up. But part of the beauty of this format is that we have seen some absolutely incredible moments. I mean, the one that jumps out was the one up in Aberdeen, which I know you had the privilege of watching live.
It really was a privilege to be there and commentate on that. The finish in the grand final at Christmas time by Simon Fitzsimmons was some of the best, well, the best 2.5, 3 minutes of pool I've ever seen. Clearing the table twice in 2.5 minutes to turn around a 4-3 deficit against Jordan Shepherd is incredible. What a way to win. And we'll see
that rolling in as the countdown ticked to 0 is remarkable.
It's absolutely brilliant. And that's what this format gives you. Slight difference in this event to the shootouts we've seen in the past is the set form. So if this was a normal shootout event, Jon McAllister would be bang in trouble. At the moment in this format, he's staring 1-0 in the face, but he has time to recover.
Yeah, it's almost a hybrid version, isn't it? Mixed between the old and the new.
It's another loose positional shot from Zak. Can he recover this time? This is now a very thin pot, and position onto the black isn't guaranteed.
Doesn't have much time to think about it, as you can hear. And the pressure couldn't make it. So at this stage, Jon McAllister is offered quite a big reprieve. A little bit of work to do, but a lot of space with which to work in.
2 bad balls to work out, and nowhere really to hide the white, so we're going to see Jon be aggressive. Yellow above the black is a problem. Yellow against the left-hand corner is a problem. But this could be a big moment in this set. I thought Zak was just going to clean up for a 3-0 lead and be looking very good.
You can see the composure of McAllister to not even look at the clock. He's so used to that by now. That's not going to come as much of a surprise for him.
Absolutely. He's decided to play for a double on his last yellow, the one above the black. So this is a big pot now.
Doesn't go, and Jon McAllister was offered a reprieve, a difficult one though it was. Zak Shepherd has pulled out the right hand there to get that red away. I've got a little bit of a Ronnie Light on our hands. But he's missed the black with the left. Would you believe that?
He is keeping Jon McAllister in this set. That could be a very big moment because he's landed perfectly on the double. 2 big shots coming up. That was a missable black from Zak, but I didn't expect him to leave it on the table.
And actually, Simon, whilst anyone who plays the game of pool down the local will know a double is a particularly nice shot to make, looks particularly flashy. At this level, it's just considered part of the game. That's a fairly straightforward clearance for Jon McAllister. And the world champ is back in this set. Here was the miss, which opened it up for him from Zak Shepherd. It was so close to dropping. But alas, and you can see the Welshman is still thinking about that.
Yeah, he knows that could be a big moment in this set. 3-0 with, what, 10 minutes left on the clock. Is, you know, he's in the driving seat. It's hard to lose the set from that position. 2-1, this is wide open.
2 frames to 1 first set. Time running.
So often the case in pool. You make a big mistake not winning the previous frame, you come up dry in the very next frame.
It is amazing how often that happens. It really is. It's a phrase that's, you know, so ubiquitous across so many different walks of life, but never truer in the sport of pool that when it rains it often pours. And now when Zak Shepherd was thinking about that miss before he broke, he'll now have a lot of time to think about it whilst Jon McAllister attempts to clear up and tie up this opening set of the Super Series.
Always feels worse when you're playing great players as well, because you feel like they punish them even more. When Zak walked back to his corner, he would have thought, well, I'm not going to get a shot in this frame. I know there's a lot of work left for Jon, but he knows what pool's like. And Jon's been given a lifeline in this set, and it looks like he's going to take it.
Yeah, it looked quite crowded in that central area, but actually, a player of Jon McAllister's white ball control quality wasn't too much of an issue.
Doesn't want to be hampered queuing. Now we're tricky. It's difficult. The pot itself is difficult. And in fact, he's going to change his route. He's going to go for the one in the bottom right first and come back for the one on the cushion. So this isn't a guaranteed finish now.
Played it really well.
He's not. It's difficult to get nicely onto the black. He's going to have to make a difficult black wherever he lands. This is tricky. I think he'll still take it into the middle pocket. It's thin. And the middle pockets on these black ball tables are very tough.
To level things up. And he is short on the near jaw. And Zak Shepherd, once again, is offered a reprieve.
Now 3 missed pots in this match from Jon McAllister, and well, when he won the world title, he wasn't missing 3 pots in a match, let alone 3 pots in a set.
Well, Zak Shepherd was a touch frustrated coming off the back of that shot. I think he was upset with potentially himself there. He's just played the safety and given Jon McAllister all kinds of trouble here. Total snooker called.
It's a good effort from Jon.
He very nearly potted it, which would have been some way to end the frame.
Yeah, slightly dangerous shot from Zak, just to leave the one cushion, and a fairly open look at the black from one cushion. We've seen Jon make those shots in the past, but it's worked out okay on this occasion for Zak. So he's one bad ball on the right-hand side away from going 3-1 ahead. He may choose to move it. He has chosen to move it. The reason I said that, if he was full of confidence and he was playing, he may well have backed himself to land on it and cue it down the cushion, especially with, you know, positionally he wouldn't have had anything to do afterwards, regardless of what balls he left.
Oh. It's just not quite falling for Zak Shepherd in this frame, no matter how hard he's trying. And he's a little unlucky with the cannon on the cushion. Gave him an awkward white ball. Is Jon McAllister going to seal this frame? Not quite. Another chance then for Shepherd.
He's making hard work of it, but he's still big favourite for a 3-1 lead.
Especially with how the balls are laid out now, it require a big error from this stage.
The black's in a position where if you land nicely on it, you shouldn't miss it. But he missed a similar black on the other side of the table in the previous frame, so he wants to make sure that he lands nicely on this black. You can see he wants to leave the one to the middle pocket for his last ball, so he can just drop it in and you're right behind the black. It's good control. Easily screwed into the white pocket when you've not been playing. Not quite have that touch, but he's controlled it nicely. This is as nice on the black as you could hope to be.
Well, it could be the frame to win. Both players had opportunities to do so. Zak Shepherd makes it 3-1 in our first set of this Super Series match. Jon McAllister then needs 2 frames in the final 5 minutes of this opening set to get himself on the board in the Super Series. He is an immensely talented player. We take a look there. Obviously the reigning world champion. He also got to the final of the UK Professional, and so many events over the course of the last 2 years. He's been a consistent performer.
In 2018 he was voted the Professional Players Player of the Year. In February he won the world title. He's won multiple IPA events. He's been in many, many finals. He's deep. It feels like in nearly every event he plays in, he really is one of the top players in the world right now.
Got to the stage, didn't it, where you'd look at the sort of the last 4 of any event that he was in, and you were surprised if he wasn't there.
No, definitely, and with the standard of Paul and the standard of players in the game right now, you know, for Jon to do what he's done over the last 2-3 years is a brilliant achievement. And in fact, you saw on that list that we just had up that a couple of finals against Liam Dunster, and I think there could be a nice rivalry brewing between Jon and Liam, both in the mid-20s. 2 of the best players in the world right now. Liam ranked #1, Jon ranked #3. I think we could see a lot of big matches between those 2 players over the next 10 and 15 years.
So Jon McAllister has 3.5 minutes with which to work. If he can get this frame out of the way quickly, he's got a shot of tying the scores, and that would be an interesting way to close out our first set of the Super Series, to have a tied set. Well, it's an interesting dynamic in the event of a tie, isn't it?
Yeah, there was some debate about what should happen if there was a tied set, and it's been, the rules are that if it's a tied set, it's just half a point each, although that's a big miss from Jon.
He knew it as well. I think we heard him groan as soon as he played the shot.
Yeah, a tied set would mean half a point each, which could mean that we could end up at the end of the match with a tied score, and then we start to go down to a black ball shootout. But this time, I think it's going to be Zak Shepherd's set. These are laid out beautifully for him once again.
A strange miss that from Jon. It was a shot you just do not expect him to miss.
It's not something you associate with Jon. The misses that almost look careless. I mean, I'm sure Jon, he wasn't careless. I'm sure he gave that everything, but it's not what you're used to. That could be the rustiness. That could be the lack of match practice from Jon. Just overdone it. This is now tricky.
To go wide. And he's got one.
Well, if this is dead straight, it's not ideal, because I don't think the black goes to the bottom right corner. So if he's dead straight, he may not be able to land nicely on the black. Yeah, he's had to screw up and down. Great shot, though.
Cued it really nicely. And this is the rubber stamp on the first set for Zak Shepherd. Beautifully done.
Frame.
We will play the full half hour. Those are the rules set out for us. But Zak Shepherd will be in no particular hurry here. It's a chance for him to go through the motions. Maybe get a bit more table time that he's not had an awful lot of, but the first set is going his way.
Absolutely. Only a minute or so left on the clock. No time for Jon to get back into this set. We go 40 seconds left, so we'll see the break.
Zak Shepherd to break.
If Zak wins the
4
frame,
frames to 1, time
golden break, or he manages to make a 30-second clearance, then he gets to the 5 frames. If not, he wins the set after the 30-minute mark.
Banged in a terrific break there, and he's going to have a little run around the table. But a great start for the underdog here. Really impressive.
First set, Zak Shepherd.
And that will do as Zak Shepherd takes the first set of the inaugural Freesports Super Series. We'll be back after the break with set number 2. Welcome back to Freesports Super Series pool on your screens here on this Friday night. Lovely to have you back with us. Stephen Jameson, Simon Webb here with you for this evening's match between Zak Shepherd and Jon McAllister. And the reigning world champion has got some work to do. If you missed our first set, he's 1-0 down.
Yeah, Jon started this match as a big favourite, being the world champion, being one of the best players in the world, and Zak is a sort of up-and-coming player, if you like, and for him to win the first set and to win it in the way he did, with Jon making some mistakes, really could be in trouble here, Jon McAllister, the world champion.
Yeah, we just saw some shots there of our referee, Donna Evans. She's in charge of cleaning duties in the pool arena in between every set, part of the measures that were put into the show here to make sure it was viable to return after, of course, the UK lockdown. And we are away in set number 2. It's a race to 3. Zak Shepherd at the moment is out in front.
And another big break. The break at the end of the first set was a big one, and it looks like he's found his touch on the break after an early dry one. And okay, it's not a brilliant opportunity, but there's only, well, it depends which way he wants to go. I think ideally he'd like yellows, because all the yellows really have a pocket, but it requires a big opening shot. Oh, and he's got it. Maybe a touch unlucky. If he can't pop this yellow to the top left, he's been a little bit unfortunate.
Oh, I don't think he can.
Good signs there for Zak. He came in tonight with no form or no practice at all, so probably started a little bit, you know, a little bit rusty, maybe not quite as confident as he would have normally been, but that shot there to start this frame shows that he's starting to find his confidence. Oh, that's a good shot though.
Well, just as you said that, that's the first commentator's curse that we've inflicted since we've been back from lockdown. Just as he started to sing the praises, that is a loose one from the Welshman.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to pop that yellow, just trying to nudge it over the bottom right-hand corner and leave the white in the bottom left-hand corner. And
but he was
got it all wrong.
He was unlucky initially, wasn't he? Because he wanted to be above that red at the top of the table to carry on the break. He played a terrific opening shot.
Yeah, I think he was unlucky. To finish not on that ball at the top left is, after the pot he put in, was unlucky, and probably if he had have landed on that yellow, you'd have fancied him to clear up because the rest were there.
And those unfamiliar with the black ball rules. Shot and a visit in the event of a foul. So Jon McAllister gets a free shot to do whatever he so pleases to do with, and then he just carries on as normal. And he's opened up the table a little bit, but that bottom left is now looking a little bit problematic for him when it wasn't necessarily before.
Yeah, didn't have much control on the shot to open things up, just tried to develop the area, and they haven't come out perfectly for him. 2 reds at the bottom of the table are open, but the one on the left-hand side isn't. And it isn't easy to land nicely on the 2 at the bottom of the table to have an angle to try and develop that bad ball. So this next 2 or 3 shots are going to be quite tricky.
And a reminder that as we are now into the second set, the shot clock has reset to 30 seconds. It's only in the second half of our shootout sets that the 15-second shot clock is in play.
He hasn't landed perfectly. Okay, he's on this red to the left centre, but he gains nothing by potting that. Very hard to land nicely on his next ball. I don't know whether he could play a double on the yellow that's causing the problems. Oh, he is going to go for the double. Aggressive play from Jon. Ooh, little nudge on the yellow. Little nudge, little fortunate, but it flies in.
Well, he is one of the shot makers in the sport of pool, and he has got a repertoire that even amongst the best players in the world stands out, and Jon McAllister there showing off some of that fantastic repertoire. Needed that as well.
Yeah, that could be a big moment in this match. Little fortunate, but it was a good shot. You are right, he is very much regarded across the players as one of the big shot makers in pool. During the World Championships that he won in February, it felt like every match he was pulling out 2 or 3 shots of the tournament.
And Jon McAllister takes the first frame of our second set. That might just be a bit of a settler for him, because he's not had it all his own way here as we take a look at the stats. 4 missed pots by Jon McAllister standards is unheard of.
It really is, and a couple of them have been ones that really you don't expect from Jon McAllister. 4 mistakes, 4 missed pots in a set and a frame. It's very unlike the world champion. But, you know, Zak's played some good pool. You know, you can't take it away from him. He won that first set. He did make a couple of positional errors and missed a couple of pots himself, but he was able to dust them off and come back again and get the job done. But this match feels very evenly poised at the moment.
He did it in no time at all there. Eventually.
Oh, where's the white?
Another rare mistake, and the one thing you always look for when you're going off the break is exactly how it did it. Is it unlucky, or is it a mistake? There we see, it is just a sheer mistake from Jon McAllister. Screws straight back into the top pocket. And Zak Shepherd, again, with a bit of a reprieve. He took the first set really comfortably, but I think it'd be remiss of us not to accept that he did have a little bit of help from his opponent to do so.
Absolutely, and you're quite right about that being a mistake from Jon. White was straight into the corner pocket, got the break all wrong. So used to seeing Jon, when he's given an opportunity like he was in the opening frame, not just win that, but win the next frame as well with a breaking clearance or a reverse dish. You're almost really punishing his opponents. On this occasion, he hasn't. Well, with his free shot, Zak tried to open up the table and give himself the best opportunity. It hasn't come out perfectly. There's a couple of, there's a red and yellow above the black. There's a red and yellow on the bottom rail. He needs to work those out. Okay, so he's chosen yellow, so it is just the yellow above the black that's going to take his attention. The rest aren't too bad at all. He's looking to see if he can pick an angle. Just see where he's pointing his cue there. He wants to leave an angle on the yellow to the top left to try and come down the right-hand side of the table and land on this yellow to the centre pocket. And there is very little room for that yellow. Oh, he's now trying to have a look to see whether it will go past the black. Looks very tight. Needs the white to travel. If this yellow goes to the bottom left, and he's on it, although he won't be happy with the position, the white will be going in. Although it does look tight from our camera.
Just get the small sense that he's starting to chase this a little bit here, Zak Shepherd. He's gone to the other side of the table, and he is going to play safe. And so often we see particularly aggressive players, they hate to play that safety shot, but often they can pop themselves into an even bigger problem when we enter into now what will probably be considered a safety battle, unless Jon McAllister pulls out a really good shot.
Yeah, I think that was the right choice. Still got 3 yellows on the table. He's going to be behind in this safety battle, but not by much.
Balls on the table, huge in this scenario, which is why Jon McAllister at this stage is now favourite for the frame.
Quite right though with Zak. If he'd carried on with that visit, tried to pot another yellow and try and keep going, if he didn't manage to get out, he would have just made it easy for Jon, and it would have been 2-0 very quickly. Good shot from Zak. Develops his bad ball and keeps it safe. So Jon's going to have to come up with a very big safety shot here to hide the yellow over the bottom left.
See what he was trying to do, sneak in behind that red, but I think it will still have the same effect.
I think all Zak can see is the yellow below the black, and he can't do a lot with it, so this could just be a slow roll down to the yellow. Needs to be careful of not squeezing in off with some sort of double kiss, and he needs to make sure if he plays this slowly that he still reaches a cushion once he's made contact with the yellow. Oh, that's well played. Now Jon is in a world of trouble. All but impossible to get out of this. Unless there's a gap past that black, I think the knuckle of the pocket's going to get in his way, and he's going to have to try and raise the butt of the cue and swerve in between the black and the cushion.
Well, Jon McAllister
there's just enough
can
room.
get through. I was going to say he's going to need a magic wand rather than a cue if he can't, but he just about had enough room.
The other thing that shot did for Zak as well is it just double kissed the yellow to the left-hand side of the pocket, which is to his advantage because it's now a lot easier for him to be able to pop that. When it was right behind the black, it just made it trickier. He could have still landed on it, but it wouldn't have been as easy.
He's not far away from being almost able to hit the eject button here on this frame, Zak Shepherd, but it's not quite set up for him just yet.
Yeah, that's a slightly loose shot from Zak. I think he was attempting to make the double in the centre pocket, but the plan was to leave it over the middle pocket so that the next visit to the table, that would be his opportunity to win the frame. He's just allowed it to drift too high up the table, which potentially makes it trickier.
And now it's almost back to being advantage Jon McAllister. This is going back and forth.
It's so often the way. Player with most balls on the table has more opportunity to play safety shots and find places to hide the white. And so far in this tactical battle, it's been pretty even, or if anything, in Zak's favour in terms of getting an opportunity. But I think that last shot from Jon, things are going to turn around.
Just wonder if those two balls at the bottom of the table, the red and the yellow, are able to plant to make a skill shot. I don't think They're directly over the pocket and the level with the jaw.
Yeah, I
You
don't
can
think
see
so.
there it doesn't really go. So he has got a little bit of a something to figure out.
And he's now got another problem at the top end. This has now got very difficult for Zak. It's going to have to be a patient bit of play here from Jon to wait for the opportunity to go for the finish. But when he's 1-0 up in this set, okay, we're coming up to the halfway point in the set. He doesn't need to push the boat out. He doesn't need to rush things. He now needs just to wait and control his dominance in this frame and make sure of it, and he'll be in a great position in the set.
Shot and a visit then for Jon McAllister. He just wants the white ball cleans.
Time running.
Seeing the white ball being clean, I think it's worth pointing out that in between the sets when we were at break, the table was cleaned. That both players left the arena to go and wash their hands and do everything they need to do to keep safe.
It's nicely played. I just wonder if Jon McAllister is plotting his exit from this frame. I don't know if it will be on this visit here. I think he's going to lay another trap, is he, for Zak Shepherd?
Yeah, there's no advantage for Jon to be aggressive yet. He's turned the tables on the bottom right hand corner. He now has control of the pocket. He's got 2 more reds that are causing problems for Zak, but they're causing problems for himself. But he's got the ammunition with the other balls in the open to bide his time, wait for the opportunity. Could be another 2, 3, 4 visits before Jon gets the opportunity. All he needs is he's got to reach. Just for a second I thought he'd underhit that and he wasn't going to hit a cushion and undo all the good work.
And to be clear, for those viewing at home, Jon McAllister did not want that to drop. He's played that just about to weighted perfection. Because it very, very nearly did. It almost looks like it's going to go in the pocket, even though it's sat still in that corner.
Yeah, the reason I said I didn't think he was going to reach, I didn't think he'd reached a cushion, and of course you have to hit a cushion after contact, otherwise it is a foul.
I mentioned right at the top of the show that this was
15-second shot clock in operation.
both players not only against each other but also against the clock. It's almost
Time up.
doubly extended here for Zak Shepherd because he's also got time against him. So our referee, Don Evans, is just going to check if this is a total snooker, because if it is, it means the rule that
Total
Simon just
snooker.
mentioned
Time running.
about having to hit a cushion after contact is taken away. It is a total snooker. Zak Shepherd simply needs to hit a ball, which means he could, in theory, roll up to one. But he only has 15 seconds to play the shot. It's very difficult. He's played it very well. Top of the table from Jon McAllister.
That just adds a little bit more mileage to this frame.
It's the first safety battle I've ever seen played over 15-second shot clock.
It makes it very difficult. Yeah. How you think through your process at 15 seconds is quite incredible.
We always say, I mean, with Q Sports in general, pool snooker players, they always play 3 or 4 shots ahead, sometimes more. That brain has got to go into overdrive in this format, especially.
And of course, this is where the match clock, the set clock, comes into play. Jon has there's no advantage to Jon whatsoever in trying to make something happen. He's controlling this frame. He can't lose this frame the way it's going. So he just needs to be patient, wait, and if the clock runs down and he wins the set 1-0, he'll be happy.
I have a suspicion it won't take 13 minutes on a 15-second shot clock to force a mistake on this one, though. I'd be utterly amazed. But I've seen stranger things happen.
It wouldn't surprise me, but the one thing he has to guard against is making the mistake himself, is be patient. That helps, just opens up that corner a little bit. Don't think he wanted to give Zak a full look at this yellow in the middle of the table. I think he wanted to limit him to the yellow at the bottom right. Oh, he's going to foul.
Foul?
Oh,
One
that's
free shot,
sloppy.
one visit. Time on.
And he'll be
Time out.
frustrated to foul in an instance when he didn't
Time
really
on.
need to. It was almost an unforced error, really.
Yeah, completely unforced error. Almost rushed into it. He couldn't work out what he wanted to do, and in the end he went to play a nothing shot, which was just brush off it and hit the cushion. And yeah, it gives away the foul. That gives Jon the opportunity just to develop the balls a little bit more. Still not choosing to be aggressive.
Doesn't want that to drop. It doesn't. Reaches the cushion for good measure. And we resume. We've only got 12 minutes, or a little bit less now, of this second set remaining. It is still only 1-0. When we've seen frames won in 45 seconds in this format.
The interesting thing for me here is how does Jon, whilst he can be as patient as he likes, how does Jon start to earn the opportunity? He wants to get to a point, I guess he wants the black to be out in the open before he chooses to open up the red and yellow at the top of the table.
And that pot there doesn't necessarily signify that Jon's going to go for game here. Just gives him another different look at a safety potentially. He's still got such a big advantage with balls on the table and of course the positions of them.
Absolutely. I
Or
think he is giving.
does he go game?
I think he is giving some consideration to it. I'm wondering. The key is going to be developing the black at the bottom of the table. Like, he's got the perfect angle to develop the red and yellow together at the top of the table.
Yeah, it's this shot right here.
And that's just, I don't know whether that red now sneaks in. If it doesn't, he still has the option of pulling back and not continuing the visit or taking on a double with fairly safe situation.
I think he played the pot there. Perhaps forced to by time constraints, of course. Didn't go.
Don't think it was the full pocket, for sure. Zak's just going to try and take the pocket back, and he hasn't managed to. So this is now a good opportunity for Jon. Red goes to the top right.
You could see in the body language immediately, even in reverse from Zak Shepherd, how that shot gone for him.
He wants to land on an angle to be able to play a plant. Red onto the red over the bottom right corner and just nudge the black open. He would love the red to stay on the table, the one he's playing, rather than going in as well.
Oh, I think he's just okay.
I don't know. I think he can see the red to the bottom left, but can he get onto the red over the bottom right? I think if he just leaves it on the cushion, he may be just okay. No, he has to come up the table. He hasn't come far enough, not by a long way. And this is what I was saying that Jon needed to guard against. He could have chosen to be a lot more patient than this. He's handed Zak a lifeline back into this frame.
Or do we see that quality Jon McAllister shot making pull himself out of trouble?
Well, I take that back. That's a great shot. That's brilliant from Jon. He had to move that quite a long way to make that pot.
Difficult to describe just how good a shot that was. We'll take a replay of that in a moment. Can he finish it off with the black? Yes, he can. White ball is safe. Jon McAllister goes 2-0 up. Well, he really had to work very hard for that one. And a quite brilliant shot in the end that set the seal on it.
I really enjoyed that frame. It was very cagey, very cat and mouse, but Jon, he went for it earlier than I thought he would, but then he had to work hard to get it.
This is the quality of the operator we are dealing with. Multiple time champion and finalist in the biggest events around. And
Third
his
frame, Zak
ability
Shepherd to break, trading 2 frames to 0.
to produce in the big moments. It's not just the ability of that individual shot, it's the timing of it as well. Has a great knack of pulling it out of the fire when he needs it most.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Right. If Jon misses that pot, or he has to swerve around the black, he is handing Zak a lifeline back into this set. And Jon didn't need to go for the finish. He could have been more patient and waited, but he's chosen to go for it. And other players may have been frustrated in that situation and let the frustration get to them. Jon just realised he had to play a swerve shot, and he just got down and got it done. And it wasn't an easy black either.
No, it's certainly no gimme. Nicely there, Zak Shepherd, but this is how Jon McAllister won it. Take a look at this.
It doesn't look possible when you look from the overhead. It just doesn't look like the shot's on.
Well, we will take a look at it eventually when it comes back for us.
We will come back to it. It's a key moment in this set. When we look back at the end of the night, we may be talking about it being a key moment in the match.
Yeah, tough at this stage to... Oh, that's a big, big opportunity missed for Zak Shepherd. Here's the shot for Jon McAllister. Just watch this white ball in particular. You'll see the spots on it. I mean, the margin for error there is, I mean, less than millimetres.
Yeah, he's got to shave the black, and he's got so much side on that. Brilliant shot.
And a big miss there from Zak Shepherd. There's still enough time in this set to get a couple of frames out of the way, particularly with how those balls were looking for him there. But Jon McAllister back in amongst the balls here, chance to make it 3-0, and that probably would be a little bit too much. It would require a bit of miracle working from the Welshman to tie it back up.
Big problem here for Jon is that black doesn't have an open pocket. He may look to develop it here, but if he looks to develop it, he can't land on the next yellow, so he may have to wait and probably leave it for a double. And he's already shown in this match that he's very good at doubles. He has an angle to move the white across the table, so he has an option here. He may like to get the white across to the left hand. If he can land on the left hand side rail, he might give himself some sort of shot to the centre pocket or the corner pocket. Needs another roll. He's short. He may play this cushion first. Don't be surprised if this flies in.
Brand new cushions. How does he fancy it? Oh, stunning. Stunning
Frame.
shot from Jon McAllister. Well, we didn't see the best of the world champ in that first set, but there's a reason why he is nicknamed the Machine. And so we take a look at his player profile. My favourite thing about that, honestly, is actually right-handed.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me when I saw these players' information. Right-handed, he's Coventry City fan as well, so he'll be a happy boy right now.
Still only 26 as well, which sometimes gets forgotten because he's been around at this level for such a long time, but he's still got a lot of time in front of him there.
Yeah, it feels like he's been around for a long time, and he's 26 years old. He's going to be around for a long time yet.
I think it's also because he's got a bit of a slightly senior demeanour. He's quite serious, very level-headed.
And he's always looked older than his age as well.
Yeah, I mean, you used to play, you played him, I think, when he was junior world champion, and probably didn't look much different to what he does now.
I was introduced to him at the Lakeside World Championships back in, I think that was 04. Sorry, 2014, sorry, and he was junior world champion at the time. And I was like, are you sure? Because he looked older than I did.
Like one of them goalkeepers you used to run into in junior football, where you sort of question if they're 3 years above.
Yeah, you want to you want to see the birth certificate to prove the age.
for a player of his relative in point terms youth, he's very experienced and very composed with the shot clock, which it's taken a few players a little while to get used to.
It's one of the things I'm most impressed about with Jon is he's so composed in all aspects of the game. I've watched him grow from that junior world champion to be the world champion, going through the professional ranks and watching him learn his trade, you know, turning up to events and not going particularly deep, but learning from every loss and not getting frustrated or up or down on his wins or his losses, and taking it all in his stride to the point where he now is, you know, a big time tournament winner and one of the best players in the world.
He has got a little bit of work to do here. That red surrounded by yellows is a problem that needs solving. We'll do so again via the means of a double.
Oh, he's going to go one better. This is the right centre pocket.
Oh goodness me, no way. Well, you called it absolutely spot on. He wasn't far away from it.
1 minute 20 left on the clock. Zak may be able to get this frame on the board.
Well, it was a shot that he knew he could take the risk of playing, couldn't he? He was probably a little bit annoyed that he ended up in that position, but you know, he's relatively safe in this set. 3-0 up with just 62 seconds remaining. Zak Shepherd will get himself a frame on the board though at the end of the set, and we have 55 seconds with which to play here.
Yeah, he's going to need a golden break, some help from Donna, and then another golden duck, I think we're calling the break, where you pop the black and the white. So he's very, very long odds, all but impossible.
The players do have the option to concede, and in fact Zak has indeed conceded that set. Interestingly, after a conversation with his opponent, but there we go. That is the end of the second set. It's 1 apiece here in the Super Series. Welcome back to Free Sports. Set number 3 is in the offing
Jon
here.
McAllister to break, 1 set all, time running.
As Donna Evans tells us, 1 set all, and it is beautifully poised here. We saw a little bit more of the Jon McAllister, reigning world champion Jon McAllister, that we thought we would in that second set. He's just coming to the boil nicely. Some more of those vintage shots that we expect to see from him. And Zak didn't have as many errors from Jon to capitalise on, which is what helped him gain the first. But beautifully poised here. We talked about Zak not having been able to practice for the last few months. He's now had 2 sets of table time against one of the best in the world. No better practice than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're quite right about Jon. The second frame was everything in that set, and Jon played it perfectly. He waited for his opportunity. He thought he'd gone too soon, but he made the finish, and once he's made that finish, you just felt he was never going to lose the set, and you feel he may well settle down. And whilst we've seen some good pull from Zak, he has made some mistakes, but you feel he's going to need to step it up a level. But it is nicely poised.
And speaking of nicely poised, first frame of this set is looking pretty healthy here for Jon McAllister.
This is by far and away the best opportunity Jon's had off a break tonight. He's going to have to play one delicate shot. Yellow into the left centre pocket. It looks really easy on our screens. It's a bit trickier than it looks. And these black ball tables are tight in the middle pockets.
That maybe pronounces the angle a little bit better, that overhead shot. It's not easy. You want to be as close to it as possible. That's the rule of thumb.
Doesn't need to do too much with the white. Just concentrate, drop this in, leave himself a nice angle. fairly straight on the yellow to the opposite corner pocket.
Shows a level of cue control there. He needed the extra distance to be able to put the drag on the ball, but that just perfection.
I find it hard to believe we've had to wait to the third set to see Jon McAllister's first breaking dish, but I think we're on the verge of seeing it now.
It's not the cleverest positional shot I think he's ever played on this yellow mine. Don't think he's particularly happy with it.
Yeah, maybe another commentator's curse there. He's just left too much angle.
Still very much within the Jon McAllister wheelhouse this, but needs to be played well. Not the easiest black, but this is a chance for the first frame of the third set. Remember, a race to 3 to decide this opening match of the Super Series. Well,
it is the commentator's curse. Big surprise that. That's as bad a miss as I would have expected from Jon. Okay, it's not an absolute sitter on the black, but you just don't associate misses like that with Jon McAllister.
Especially not after seeing him play in set 2 a little bit more like what we know he can. First set seemed to be a little bit Wild West in the sense of everything was happening. Both players were getting used to get back playing again. That was unexpected, as was that. As was that.
Yeah, even more so, it's a big mistake. When your opponent at the highest level of pool, I mean, you don't see many mistakes. And okay, we may be seeing a little bit more here than we used to because of lockdown and because the players are a little bit rusty. But normally when a player makes a mistake, you need to step in and punish it. Otherwise, you're going to really struggle.
Would you believe that?
Well, that's incredible. That's just a sign that Jon is not quite cueing through the ball as cleanly as he normally would. He doesn't get anything on the white. He's trying to just catch the white, just nip it and make sure the white finish hits the side cushion.
It's so unlike Jon McAllister that it really is. But Zak Shepherd is back in it. Shepton, they call him. And a very proud Welshman. Swansea City fan.
Second
Big
frame,
fan
Zak
of
Shepherd
the
to
NBA
break,
as well. Steph
leading
Curry,
one
the
frame
favourite
to nil,
sportsman.
one settle.
Not
Time
too
running.
many Welshmen I'd wager would give that answer.
No, that was a surprise when I saw that. Big fan of Tom Cousins, fellow Welsh player.
I think we're all fans of Tom Cousins watching him play, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
And well, he's been given a frame there essentially, Zak Shepherd. The potting of the white and the black at the same time. Frame done and dusted. And could be in a little bit's time something we look back on with a fair amount of significance.
You can just see he's got one bad ball on the table, red on the right hand side. He's just come too low down the table. He would have liked to have been a little bit straighter so he could stun into the red, but he's going to have to play into the yellow and hope to move the red that way. He's moved the yellow, so the black now goes to the bottom right corner, but he's going to have to land on it and cue it in. He didn't develop it as he would have wanted to. Well, he's choosing to take it now. It's not a bad choice because he's going to play this dead weight. If it doesn't go in, he's going to take the pocket and have control in this frame, but it does go in. Great shot.
Played that really nicely.
He's not over the line in this frame just yet. The red at the top of the table isn't easy to land on, In fact, he's choosing to come around and play it to the opposite corner than the obvious one, because there's more room for the white. I think he's got the angle to be able to top through and land on it now. Oh, he's a long way short
on that. Well, now then, what do you do if you're Zak Shepherd in this situation?
Yeah, you've got to put all your concentration onto this pot. The white's going to be going close to those 2 yellows on the left-hand side. So you may be taking a little bit of control away from the position onto the black, but you need to make this pot. Oh, he's got the pot and he's got the control. Best shot in the match. Brilliant from Zak Shepherd.
And we knew it was in straight away because I think we heard Jon McAllister say shot, and he had the perfect line on that top pocket. Beautifully played, Zak Shepherd. Bit of rustiness, you wouldn't know it. Brilliantly done.
Absolutely brilliant from Zak. I said at the start of this set, he's probably going to have to step it up because it looked like Jon was going to, but it's Jon that's made the mistake, and Zak has doubly punished it with that breaking dish.
Well, we've got so much to look forward to with this Super Series pool. We are breaking up into segments, so all the matches will follow day by day by day. We want to get you into this competition. We are, of course, watching Zak Shepherd against Jon McAllister tonight. Saturday night's entertainment is a belter. Gareth Hibbert takes on Chris Day. Emma Cunningham is then in action on Sunday night against Aaron Davies. Kyle Brown and David McNamara are Monday night's offering. And we round off this little round with Mark Farnsworth against Ben Rowland. It's brilliant, brilliant games.
Absolutely fantastic. 3 world champions over the next few days, and obviously we've got world champion in action tonight. Not only that, we've got Aaron Davies, who was the world championship runner-up against Jon in February. Jon has time in this set, but he needs to get going if he wants to fight for this, well, could be key 3rd set.
I think either way, whoever wins it, as we see Jon make a really, really good shot there. This 3rd frame, at 3rd set rather, at 1-all, becomes massive. Because then you just 1 away.
You're right, this is...
And the difference between being 1 away and having to win everything is huge.
Couldn't agree more. The next 20 minutes are huge in the context of this match. I don't know how you feel, but to me it's a bit, I feel like we're waiting for Jon to sort of shake off the rustiness and show us the World Championship form.
Seen glimpses, haven't we? Almost moments. I mean, they've come in the form of almost classic Jon McAllister shots, really. The brilliant reverse double on the black, the swerve around to set that one up as well. With the red, he has had some brilliant moments, but it's not been that almost robot-like consistency, which is what we're used to at the very, very top level. And make no mistake, Jon McAllister is at the very, very top level. But it'd be interesting to see at the same time, Simon, of where all these players are at. They're used to playing almost every single day. Very few will have been able to have that luxury. You know, fitting a pool table in your own house is not the easiest thing. I think I saw Ben Davies down in Wales and installed it in his living room, much to the chagrin of his wife. But it's not easy. Not a lot of professional players have access within their own homes to actually be able to play.
And even the ones that have, and there are only a few, but even the ones that have they got the motivation? This event is come around quite quickly. If you've not got anything to practice for and you're in lockdown, is there motivation there to get the cue out and to practice?
Oh, you hear there a big sigh from Jon McAllister. He's making hard work of this frame. It's not been easy for him. He so far has shot his way out of it. Needs another good shot here. This is not a gimme black, but it would be a really impressive dish, this, from Jon McAllister. He's had to work hard.
And this black is almost bigger because of the black he missed in the 2 frames ago.
It's a bit more like it
Frame.
from Jon McAllister. Frame called. And it's back in it. Needed that. Let's have a quick look at the stats. It is really, really even. I think that's the biggest takeaway to take from this, not just in terms of the scoreboard, but with set play, you can find a player can just win the right moments to win the set. But realistically, this is as even as it gets.
Yeah, you don't have to actually win the most amount of frames to be able to win the match.
Zak Shepherd to
The way
break.
set play
Leading
goes.
2-1.
First
One settle.
breaking dish in that previous
Taom.
frame from Jon McAllister, but the big stat on there for me, Jon McAllister 6 missed pots, almost unheard of.
Didn't quite get the explosion that he'd like there, Zak Shepherd, out of the pack, and well, this is set up very nicely. And I think we might be angling towards a decider here. Jon McAllister taking all of his allotted seconds to survey the table. Red's had to be the pick, really.
It's a great first shot. It's a little bit congested around the black, but there is a gap through that. The black has a pocket, the red has a pocket. Landing on them is another story, though. I think he was trying to land on the red just next to the black, but he's gone too far. The longer he leaves it before he lands on that red, the harder it's going to get. Or maybe he's got an angle to try and nudge into it. He could play, if he has the angle, he could probably try and drift down and maybe try and cannon the black. No, he's just played the gap.
This is a shot that will realistically decide if Jon McAllister is going to win the frame at this visit. And he's played that pretty much to perfection.
It controls the white off the yellow beautifully. Still has to hit the gap for the black, and the next positional shot's actually tricky. He's got the angle he's going to be going with the white. He's going to have to avoid a couple of yellows. He's done that well.
15-second shot clock now in use, as we just heard from our referee. So he's got a little bit less time to think. His positional shot onto the black is now key in this frame.
Well, he's going to leave the black from distance because he's left himself straight on this red, but straight on this red means he's guaranteed to be on the black. I think he's got the angle. He can just drift down a few inches. That was key. If he'd had angle on that red and had to use a cushion, then the gap becomes tiny. But the way he played that was just perfect.
To tie things up. Mind that white ball, Jon. He is in a match here, Jon McAllister, but he is scrapping for every inch of it. We are level in our third set. A reminder of how this tournament looks. We round out round one with a barnstormer. Mason Penny against Jordan Shepherd, and Jordan Shepherd for many people is the man in this form of the game. Why is that for those uninitiated?
In the pool world, many think that this style of pool was just tailor-made for Jordan Shepherd. He is one of the quickest players around. He's one of the most eye-catching players around. But it was one thing to say this event was going to suit him, but what he's done in the shootout over the last 18 months or so is quite incredible. He's won 5 shootout tournaments, and he's been in another final. It's a tournament he really has owned. And
the one that he lost by, I mean, we're talking a literal second.
Yeah, he had it stolen away from him by Simon Fitzsimmons in quite incredible style. But I think because of what, you know, we've got 4 world champions in the field, we've got Simon Fitzsimmons who won that grand final, but for me, Jon Shepherd still starts this tournament as the favourite. Big thing will be how much has he been playing, because he's a player that I do know likes to practice a lot, and if he's not practicing and playing a lot, he considers himself very rusty.
I mean, you'll know yourself, Simon, from previously playing at the top level, that it's a bit of a debate, isn't it, amongst a lot of sports, whether ring rust, as it were, is a thing. I suppose it's more a rhythm thing in pool, isn't it, when you're playing?
For me, I actually think the players probably are probably going to practice enough to make sure they're cueing well and playing well. For me, it's going to be the match sharpness of it. The one thing that always, to me, separated the top players from the decent players was the ability to win matches when their opponent is playing great. You know, to be able to sit there and watch their opponent make 2-3 finishes on the trot and respond and almost find another gear. And players aren't going to be playing matches, so they may not have that sharpness.
And Zak Shepherd has run aground here. Just overplayed that one in behind those yellows. This is tricky, that first shot for Jon McAllister. He couldn't make that yellow drop in the centre pocket, and Zak Shepherd is offered a reprieve.
Talked about how tight these centre pockets are on the black ball tables, and that's a prime example. That's a lovely little nudge for Zak.
He knew it straight away, didn't he?
He just came out perfect, and he knew it.
Pool gods smiling on Zak Shepherd there. They haven't always smiled on him in this match.
Still a big shot here. If he lands straight, it's over. He now needs to negotiate the white round the yellow. Well, he played it into the yellow, and he's controlled that absolutely perfectly.
It's a massive pocket as well with the yellow there, and with 10 minutes and change remaining in this set, Zak Shepherd retakes the lead 3-2. And it's really shaping into a very, very interesting matchup, this one.
The next 10 minutes could tell us a lot about which player is going to win this match.
Remind ourselves of the work that Jon McAllister has put in. The very first Freesports event at the bottom of that one, World Championships in February 2018. I remember that semi-final very, very well.
Zak Shepherd to break, leading 3
I think it was myself and yourself.
I think it was, yeah. Jon played great in that match. He played great in the tournament. He almost went through the whole tournament without really being spoken about. And in that match, all 3 sets he lost were close. They were very, very tight matches, and 3-0 doesn't really tell the full story of the match. And of course, Ben went on to win the title, beating his good friend Simon Ward in the final.
Well, that break has come up dry for Zak Shepherd. He very nearly got away with a cue ball going in there.
Not sure Jon's quite landed. This looks very tight. Yeah, it's both reds are very tight past the yellow. So another good look at the other one, but it must go. He's made the decision to play on it, so this must go. It's not the full pocket. And all the reds at the bottom of the table have a pocket. The route around them is going to be the key. Needs the white to stop. Just about okay. Okay, this is still not easy. Needs a nice angle to be able to take the red into the left centre and then get on the red on the right hand side. And he's made sure of it.
It's been a very clinical break this so far from McAllister. He's still got a little bit of work to do. It wasn't an easy set for him, this, at all. Slide across here.
A little flick on the yellow. Hurts him. He's still on this red. This isn't the pocket he wanted to be on, the red. He was hoping to be onto the bottom right. Well, in it goes. And lands on the black. Brilliant finish from Jon McAllister. This sort of finish that a world champion makes look easy.
Beautifully finessed in that final few stages of that frame. The shot onto the black was, we talked about it with the one he had before in the second set. It had to be perfect. There was no margin for error there. Centimetre right, he hits the jaw. Less than a centimetre left, he hits the yellow. It was beautifully played.
Yeah, had to be pinpoint. Made it look a lot easier than it really was. And you asked at the beginning of this set, you talked about, you know, the players have had a couple of sets now. Are they going to be warmed up? That rustiness gone? Well, I think the standard is definitely ramped up in set number 3. I think that's 4 finishes from the break from the 6 frames played.
Time running.
Standard is definitely on the up.
I just wonder if we'll have some urgent calls to call clubs from players in the rest of the tournament, begging them to get down for a bit of a practice after watching this one. All eyes in the pool world on this match, the opening fixture in the Super Series here on Free Sports. Jon McAllister in again. Now this is poised very finely. 3 each in this, the third set, which is such a pivotal set in this match. We've got 6 minutes remaining.
Oh, it didn't quite land for Jon. He was just a little bit fuller on that red, and the yellow would have stayed open, and you see the big puff of the cheeks. He's gone from a good chance of clearing up to now odds against. Oh, and he's missed it for a second time. This is now getting harder. Has he got another opportunity to screw into it? Possibly use the cushion, maybe straight. Difficult to say without being right behind the shot. Oh, he's missed it again, but this time he's missed the pot. And to make matters worse, he's gone in off as well.
When it doesn't rain, it pours.
Time running.
He was a little bit unfortunate with his first attempt to develop the yellow.
Yeah, he almost tried to force the angle with that one, didn't he? And these are now relatively open for Zak Shepherd. It's such a big couple of frames coming up. There's not a lot of time that's going to be left in the remaining frame left in this set. See there, 4.5 minutes remaining. Just wonder if Zak Shepherd feels comfortable, feels as if he's got this frame in the bag. It's almost in his best interest to almost play the clock a little bit, let that clock drag down every single shot.
That's easier said than done at 15 seconds though, but I get your point. I think Zak realised he played on the red on the left-hand side below the black, and with the shot clock being so quick, I think he realised that actually that's the ball he has to leave for his last ball to be able to land on the black, and then he ended up having to run around the table and he actually made a great pot considering the time pressure he was under, but didn't get the position he needed. But he hasn't given the frame away.
Well, the way that that's now worked out, it's fairly likely that this frame here could be a decider.
It's a good hit from Jon.
He wanted pretty fortunate with where that white's ended up as well.
Yeah, he wanted to hit the yellow on the bottom cushion, so he's not quite hit the ball he was aiming for. Zak wasn't trying to pop that, just nudge it over. Wasn't going to be on anything if it dropped. No question, Zak's favourite for this frame, the way the balls are laid out right now.
It is such a pivotal frame in this game. 3 frames apiece in the third set. 3 minutes remaining in it. Jon McAllister needs to produce a rabbit out of a hat here. What's he got in his mind?
Well, he's played for something. Answers on a postcard. This is exactly where he wanted to put the white. He has a plan. Oh, wow. What an effort. And he's been fortunate. He's been very fortunate. He's left Zak nothing to go at. And actually, even playing a safety shot here isn't easy.
Well, fortune quite often favours the brave. It was a very brave attempt. That is a very good effort in response from Zak Shepherd.
Yeah, faced with next to no safety shot, or a very difficult safety shot, he's taken on a pot instead, and wow, it's a brilliant pot.
You can see he's getting his skates on.
You can see he's not, I mean, I don't think players can be comfortable at 15 seconds, but you can see he is rushed on a lot of shots right now.
I think certainly the comparison's easy to make between his demeanour when the shot's clock is ticking to Jon's. Oh, he went to play the red in off the pocket there, and it's gone horribly wrong for Zak Shepherd. That could be a massive moment in this match.
Still got to land on the black. Still got to land on the black. He's short. He's wow, I think he could probably still cut this in. He could play the skill shot. I think he's one of the best players of the skill shot that I've ever seen. Black onto red. Black's got to follow it in.
And it does. What a shot from Jon McAllister. Well, a roller coaster of a frame. Donna Evans, our referee here, will rack these up as quickly as she is able. And Zak Shepherd, realistically here, has to hold on to a wing and a prayer and hope for a golden break.
Yeah, you can see Donna really trying to get the balls racked quickly enough. She's got to be fair for both players and give them the opportunity. So Zak gets to break off with 43 seconds left on the clock. It's just about long enough.
He's changed his braking angle as well. Can he get the black to move? He can. Is it towards the pocket? No. It's a messy break as well. It is now incredibly unlikely and now impossible. Or is it? Is that going to drop? It is not. And Zak Shepherd will now be staring down the barrel, one set away from a defeat here.
Yep, frame conceded.
Frame conceded by Zak Shepherd. That will do it. What an ending frame to that set. Huge drama in the Super Series, but the world champ heads into a 2-1 lead. Hope you're enjoying this one. And we are. We'll see you in a minute. Now the clock strikes 8 o'clock in the Super Series. Welcome back to Freesports. We hope you're enjoying the company here this evening. It's been fantastic to watch. Zak Shepherd against Jon McAllister in the first match of this Super Series pool competition. Zak Shepherd just beaten in the third set before we went to break. He's 2-1 down currently. He's had the worst possible start to the fourth set there, going in off. Stephen Jamieson and Simon Webb with you for this one. Thought the red was going to save him, but not quite. And Jon McAllister here with a shot and a visit. This is the ideal scenario with which to turn up when you've just gone 2-1 up.
It is. Whenever a top player comes to the table with cue ball in hand after the break, you expect them to clear up no matter how messy the table is. And this is first shot's going to take a key shot to open things up. He's just about done that well. Reds are there for him now. But that last set that we've just watched, that was brilliant. We've waited months for that, but it's great to see that drama at the end of the set. Absolutely brilliant. And that skill shot from Jon McAllister, that could be the big moment in this match.
I think if you've not watched the shootout format before, that's the selling point, isn't it? The clock drama, the time pressure, really is everything. Forces deciders where there might not have been one, and just fantastic from both players there to serve up such high quality drama. Of course, a little bit of rustiness might have added to the drama, as we might not have got that deep into it without a couple of mistakes, but it's all part of the fun.
Jon just taking his time. I think he realises this is key. He's got the momentum. He's where's the white? It's just running loose. And yeah, Jon's got the momentum, and he just doesn't want to give it away. He doesn't want to let Zak back into this match. He's a, Jon is a great winner. Gets himself in front, and he wants to close the door and not give a sniff to Zak. And this is a big visit to the table. Start this set off with a clearance. Oh, what a shot from Jon. Didn't land where he wanted to positionally, but brilliant pot and great position. I think with his original shot, cue ball in hand, he was trying to open up the reds. Didn't quite get it as he wanted, and he's decided to go for a trickier finish on yellows than he was originally planning. He has worked these out nicely.
It was a pretty balanced setup after that shot following Zak's in off. Merits to both colour sets. Key positional shot is coming up on this next yellow, and he won't get that far.
I think you've called it. All his attention was on that cannon on the red, and he's missed the pot. And he got the cannon right, as you always do when you miss the pot.
So potential reprieve rather for Zak Shepherd. Not often that you'll go off the break against a player of Jon McAllister's quality and then get a chance to win the frame. Here he is. And of course we are edging closer towards a finish. Every frame that Zak can rack up is vital. It is all or nothing now for the Welshman. Has to win this set. And therefore needs to take any opportunities that may come his way. This is a big one.
For me, it's can he settle himself down after that finish in the previous set. Jon played a couple of big shots to win it, but Zak had his chances and he wasn't able to take them. If he can settle himself down, just remind himself he's just got to win this set, stay in the match, he's a chance. Excellent shot from Zak. He didn't have the angle he wanted on that previous pot. Controls it beautifully around the table, and now he's just got to make sure he comes back past the yellow. That's perfect.
Played this really well, Zak Shepherd, after being let back in by Jon McAllister, and he's about to go 1-0 up in this fourth set. A set he involves Chris Day taking on 2016's world champion Gareth Hibbert, and they will face the winner of this one, be it either Jon McAllister or Zak Shepherd. Loaded brackets. Either way you look, really, both halves of the draw.
Second frame, Jon McAllister to break. Trading 1 set, 1 frame to 0, 2 sets to 1 up.
Well, Zak has
Time
done
running.
everything he needed to do in that opening frame to forget the previous set. He has to sit and wait to see whether he's going to get an opportunity in this frame. Good break from Jon. A couple of problem balls on the side cushion. Yellows will probably be his option. There's one bad yellow on the right hand side. And the black's tricky, but there's enough room to land on it somewhere.
Oh, not if you miss the opening shot like that, though. That is very unlike Jon McAllister. it was tight. I don't think he had a full pocket, but he almost tried to take too much of it the other way.
Yeah, another surprising miss. We've said that a few times tonight, haven't we, with Jon? He's missed a few pots. I think there is definitely some rustiness, not just from Jon, but from both players. To be expected, of course. Although Jon was fortunate, not for the first time, to leave it awkward after miss. He's going to get a second opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Zak was trying to play there. But either way, it hasn't really worked out for him.
Jon's still going to go yellows. The yellow he originally missed, he's gone awkward as well. So there's 2 bad balls now. This is a harder finish than it was originally. Looks like Jon wants to be aggressive. Well, maybe not. Maybe he's just dropping this over the corner pocket. Or is he going to make it off the yellow? He's going to make it off the yellow. It's a great shot. The yellow hasn't come out far enough.
Don't need our commentary, just look at his face to find out exactly what he thinks about that. It's very rare, actually, that you see that level of, well, let's call it emotion from Jon McAllister. Usually such a level-headed individual. We were talking about it off-air before we started tonight, Simon, about his temperament at the table. It is one of the best around, and it's a rare glimpse into the frustrations that he's having.
He manages to keep everything within so well. You do see so little from him, and it's a big asset to be able to forget a bad shot, especially when you get to play the next shot. You know, if you miss the pot but don't get the cannon or something like that, and have to come up with a big shot. And Jon's so good at that. But he did show a little bit of a frustration there, but that's about as much as you'll ever see from him.
And this isn't the worst outcome, actually, him having to develop this yellow. He's not really done it. He might have actually given himself more of a headache further down the line. And we now enter into a tactical battle. Remember, the shot clocks are still ticking at 30 seconds. Still got another 5 and a bit minutes to go before we hit the 15-second changeover.
It's felt like there's been one key tactical battle in every set so far that's played a big part in who wins and loses the set. In the second set, it was Jon that won the tactical battle whilst being 1-0 ahead. And I felt through that tactical battle, being 1-0 ahead was an advantage because it took the pressure off having to try and make something happen. And this time round, it's the other way around. Zak's got that 1-0 lead. He should be in no hurry to open this up. If he can win this tactical battle and go 2-0 ahead and kill a lot of time, then he's gone a long way to winning the set.
Yeah, still a long way to go in this 4th set. Only just past the 20-minute mark, but it is amazing how much time these safety battles can eat up when you are clock watching. You saw it in the set that Simon mentioned. And we may see it again in the 4th here.
Zak's got to be careful here. He doesn't want to develop that yellow below the black. Yeah, he's played that well. Just feathered off it. If he'd opened that yellow up, he would have been asking for trouble, because the one bad yellow that Jon has is the yellow on the right hand side. It's above the red. There's 2 easy balls to develop it. So Zak's done well to keep things tight.
Yeah, Jon is snookered here, which means he doesn't have to hit the cushion after contact, so he can do just that. And now Zak is potentially in a little bit of trouble here.
He may not be able to see the cushion to be able to play the simple left-hand side cushion and onto the red.
I think, judging by the way he's walked around this, I think you might be right.
Although when you look at that camera angle, it looks like it's on. I think he could just almost return the favour. Just nestle on this red. Yeah, he did have the angle.
Well, he's definitely not touching ball. I just wonder if Now that yellow is out and he has only got the one difficult ball, Jon could decide to hedge his bets here and play with this right bottom corner pocket.
I wonder if he just tries to develop the yellow and keep the white somewhere near the red, limit what Zak can do. I think that's what he's done. And if Zak doesn't cover the potting angles on the yellows to both bottom corners, then Jon's going to give himself an opportunity. It's a key shot in this tactical exchange.
As ever, the clock continues to tick. We are ticking ever closer towards that 15-minute mark when this safety battle will take on an altogether different complexion with a 15-second shot clock introduced.
Zak's played that well. Risked moving the black into the open, but he has covered the yellows over the pocket and stopped Jon from having anything to go at. Oh, unless you're Jon McAllister, that's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic from Jon McAllister to have the vision to play that shot. He feathers off one to pot the other, but the other thing it's done is it's developed the bad ball.
It's a phenomenal bit of work. It's still not the easiest finish, needs a little bit of finicky positional play with some awkward cueing, but that was brilliant. Really, really good. And you couldn't call it a mistake from Zak Shepherd. He played a pretty good tactical shot there. But sometimes there is no stopping the best around.
Yeah, I think he played the shot as well as he probably could. I would have been pleased walking back to the table if I was Zak. Okay, in hindsight, you've given Jon an opportunity to come up with something big, but sometimes you have to take those chances, and he had to hit a cushion after contact, so he had to play that with enough pace to do that. Though Jon hasn't quite got the angle on the yellow he wanted. He wanted to be straight in so that he could just drop this in, have the black into the centre pocket. Now he's got to move the white quite a long way around the table. Didn't quite get into it enough.
Now then, he's already pulled one magic trick out of the book in this frame. What has he got here? We've already seen the ability of Jon McAllister to find angles and shots that...
I think it's the cushion first again. The nice thing about this is the red's almost a guide. Miss the red and you're going to go close.
He's going to go close. Where's the white ball though? We'd actually relieved that the white hasn't... Sorry, the black hasn't gone in, because that would have ended the frame.
Time running.
Zak here still has a little bit of work to do. I think if the black had have gone in, the white wouldn't have with that angle. But we are down to a 15-second shot clock. Zak has a shot and a visit. There's his shot, and now he has to work with this set. 6 reds and the black to go.
Perfect angle to develop the red on the side rail. She's done nicely.
And still a bit of time to go in this set. Only just ticked over into the second half of it. But with a 1-frame lead already and a reasonable looking opportunity here, Zak Shepherd could and potentially should go 2-0 up and start to make us think about the decider on opening night.
You certainly feel if Zak completes this clearance, the decider will be favourite. I'm surprised he's taken this ball first, because he's come up short. Now the white's travelling up the table. This is a harder pot than he wanted it to be. I I thought he'd go the other way and just drop that red into the corner, and then it would have been simple. But maybe he was worried about going behind the black. Ah, brilliant.
Covered that really, really well. He had a little smile to himself, Zak Shepherd, as almost to say, can't believe I've maybe messed this one up. Made it difficult for himself, but he's one shot away from 2-0. And he's made it. 2-0 in the fourth set. Frame sealed for Zak Shepherd. As we start to edge towards the decider. Jon McAllister still has time to potentially win this set and get himself out of here with a 3-1 win. But that is starting to look a little bit more unlikely, and judging from those stats, he might only have himself to blame.
Yeah, there's the missed pots as the big stat on the Jon McAllister side. There's been a few mistakes from Zak on his side, but Jon is obviously being world champion. You expect it from him less. Although the interesting statistic for me is to see that Zak has actually won more frames, even though he's 2 sets to 1 behind. It just shows what can happen in set play.
Zak Shepherd to break, leading 2
Despite the
frames
fact
to
he's
0.
potted less balls as well.
And he's potted less balls.
Time running.
Just indicates towards the narrative that Jon McAllister's mistakes have allowed Zak Shepherd the chance he's got here to tie things up. But you've got to be there to take them. He needed a ball to drop there though, and that's come up dry, and that's come up inviting. And it's still been 11 minutes is an awfully long time in pool. It really is. It's not always, as we just witnessed in that last frame. But if the balls come out nice, as they kind of have here, we could be looking at a totally different game in no time at all. A little bit of work here for Jon McAllister to do on yellows. The one at the top of the table is an issue. The one at the side, nestled with the 2 reds, is also a problem position.
He's back against the wall time in this set as well.
Well, looking at this, I wonder if the red is actually making that a big pocket. It is. But he can't take the chance.
I think the way that Jon's played that, he's played no position on that shot. I think that was just a nudge the red out of the way, take the pocket, take control in the frame. I think he realised if he continued that visit, he may well have made it easy for Zak.
Well, it's the gauntlet thrown down, isn't it?
Zak's gone for the skill shot. Hasn't got it, but it's not the worst second prize. As long as that yellow's covered, as long as the cue ball can't get through to the yellow, then he's got that corner completely sewn up. He's 2-0 ahead, and there's 10 minutes on the clock. I was going to say he'd be better advised slowing down and not going for the finish. It looks like he still wants to be aggressive. And now he's decided to slow down. He doesn't want to foul. He's okay. Just reached the side cushion with the cue ball.
Well, he's definitely got the opportunity here, hasn't he, to have the option to slow it down. He's the one who isn't playing with that extra time pressure. Jon McAllister, I think, is going to try and go for it. Needs that to drop. It doesn't, but he's not in a terrible position here. Has taken control of that bottom right area of the table. Again, that shot clock just keeps things interesting for the players. If the shot clock wasn't in existence there, Zak could have easily taken up to a minute to think about his route there.
I think it's why the match clock works, is that severe shot clock. It really, the two things work so well together. I think Jon's in a position here where he's forced to go for the finish. Time's against him, so he's going to play the long plant. The question is, where does the yellow go after making the one over the pocket?
Where does the red go as well?
It's not worked out. I don't think that yet. Well, maybe it does. If the yellow squeezes by, then we could well see another skill shot from Jon to this bottom left-hand corner.
I think it may do, you know.
I think he can play this off the knuckle, off the red. I think there's enough room for that.
Positioning isn't guaranteed on the black either. This is a massive shot. Played the pot really well. Where's the white ball?
Oh, he's not that nicely on the skill shot. Wow, just brushed past the red. Just. We've seen Jon do this before tonight. It's another big skill shot.
Well, the man with the shiny shoes is looking for more magic here.
Got that one wrong. Desailed on
play
the shot.
One free shot, one
That
visit,
could
time
and
out.
probably should be the set.
It's a really difficult
Time
shot,
running.
that. Skill shots are tough to pull off at the best of times. Whenever you're queuing down, always find the odds tend to get stacked against you even more playing a skill shot. Spin on the ball there is everything. You want as little as possible.
Yeah, just any time you're having to... Well, anytime you're not straight behind it as well, it really adds to the tariff of the shot. And if Jon had finished straight behind it, I would have backed him to make it.
Well, this for a 3-zip lead in set number 4, which should be unassailable. Isn't guaranteed to be, of course, but it would require a massive dramatic comeback from Jon McAllister. Here's a shot, and the angle looks almost more pronounced on that overhead shot. That was near impossible.
Yeah, he got that one all wrong. He didn't get close to it at all. We're used to seeing Jon make those sorts of shots, but he was quite a long way off the mark. The key for those shots is to be precise. You want the ball you're playing to hit the ball that's over the pocket absolutely as full as possible, so that it can't then throw off to the jaws at all. And he caught it by quite a long way off.
Fourth frame, Jon McAllister to break, trading 3
He's
frames to nil.
6 minutes on the
leading
clock
2
and
sets
he's got to
to
win
1.
3
Time running.
frames to get back into this set. Full order.
Yeah, not impossible, but unlikely. And with a dry break, starts to veer towards that impossible. And I think the irony of that is it's come up dry, but it's maybe the nicest spread he's had in a good few breaks. Zak is playing the sensible option, I'd say, there. He doesn't need to push the boat out in any way. Jon, however, does. And that's the sort of thing he has to do.
Brilliant from Jon. He knows he's got to do it. He knows he's got to go after this finish, find a way to do it quickly.
Sort of might bring out some more from the box of tricks like that. That wasn't necessarily easy either. Have a watch of this, ladies and gents. Bang.
Absolutely brilliant. He didn't quite get the cannon on the yellow with that next shot that he wanted, and he's noticed the yellow awkward. Just when you want to be able to run through this finish and use as little time as possible, he's having to really think. Or maybe eyeing up a 3-ball plant, really pushing the boat out now. Oh, he's a long way off. I think it's a different way of approaching that visit, knowing you're 3-0 down with, well, less than 5 minutes on the clock, than if you were in a regular tournament in 0-0. You would have approached that in a very different way.
Looks like for all the worlds, like we are heading in our first match of the Freesports Super Series to a decider. It is a best of 5. And barring a miracle here in set number 4, we are heading for that 5th set.
It's a nice positional shot. And you can see why he's going for this. You know, the golden break, making the black off the break. you know, or, you know, it's Zak's break next, Zak making the black and the white off the break, and all of a sudden you could have a minute or two to try and make a clearance. So it's worth making this, or getting this frame on the board, and at least giving yourself a chance.
Freesports over the next 4 nights. Gareth Hibbert, 2016 World Champion, is up against Chris Day tomorrow night. Saturday night's entertainment, live and in colour from 7 o'clock. Emma Cunningham takes on Aaron Davis on Sunday. And then we open the week with Carl Brown taking on David McNamara, and Mark Farnsworth versus Ben Rowland. Some brilliant games coming up over the course of this weekend. So here we go then. Zak Shepherd just needs to be safe. Oh, and he very, very nearly wasn't. He may still, might not be. He gets away with it.
Just keeps the white on the table. Twice.
Watch this white ball straight into the middle pocket and pop back out again. Heart in mouth time. Not once, but twice for Zak Shepherd. He can just play the clock here. He knows he's realistically there. And we go to a decider, and it's worth putting this out before we reach that decider, that we could reach the end of the half an hour, and we could very much, in theory, be dead level.
If that happens, we will go to a black ball shootout. It'll be sudden death from the start. Black on the black spot, white. You can just see the little spot above the bulk line we placed there, and it'll be a sudden death, like a football penalty shootout.
And that was changed, wasn't it, relatively recently, just to make that black shot relatively more difficult, because most players would back themselves to pop the black from the bulk line, but even just that couple of inches adds a lot more tariff to that shot.
Absolutely, and also the fact that it was changed from being exactly like a football shootout in terms of 5 goes each, and then it goes to sudden death. And I think that's the players were finding it, you know, it was rare they missed one when it was in that situation, so it's been made harder. Quite rightly, it adds to the drama, and I like the fact it's straight into a sudden death shootout. And we could well see that for victory.
20 seconds remaining of the frame. That is a hit and Chris from Jon McAllister. And that is the frame conceded by the man from Coventry. We are going to a decider, ladies and gentlemen. Friday night's entertainment is something up. We'll see you after this. Welcome back, ladies and gents. We move to a decider here in the first match of the Super Series. We've got half an hour to decide the winner in the first round between the reigning world champion Jon McAllister and Wales's Zak Shepherd. This has been a brilliant game so far, and Zak Shepherd has won 2 sets here, 4-1 against the reigning world champion, which as a stat line in itself does not look too shabby.
He's actually won more frames as well, and there's been some excitement from both players, but there's been some mistakes as well from both players, and I think that's just added to the drama for us. I think set 3 was absolutely brilliant. And what have we got here for set 5, the deciding set?
It is a big game here in the opening rounds. A reminder of those sets.
Final set, Jon McAllister to break. 2 sets all.
9 missed pots from Jon McAllister. It has not been a vintage night for himself, and that is not a vintage break either. Not an ideal start for the man from Cov.
His breaks worked pretty well for him tonight, but This is one of his rare dry ones. Not how he wanted to start this deciding set. And it's a lovely split as well. Good opportunity for Zak Shepherd to start this deciding set well. He's gone for reds. The red on the top left hand side rail and the top rail are his two biggest problems. I think yellows would have been a better choice, but he didn't have a good yellow to go at. Forced into reds. These reds are a lot harder. Has to leave a fair amount of angle on this red to be able to land on the red at the top of the table. That makes this pot harder. It's the only way to get the position he needs.
Yeah, these next two shots are the key to the frame. If he can make this one get the position and make his way down the table with good position, the rest should, in theory, take care of itself. That one wiped its feet, but made its mark. See there, the circle there is essentially the penalty spot for the potential black ball shootout that we may find ourselves needing should the score still be level at the end of 30 minutes here in our final set. And Zak Shepherd has played the positional shot pretty well. He's not got the pot though. And this is no gimme by any stretch of the imagination for Jon McAllister. That red is now not made its way into the bottom of the table, but it has caused himself a problem with the two yellows at that top end of the table here. What to do?
Yeah, we have seen Jon, one of the best players in the world at the skill shot. I know he missed one in the previous set, but the way that yellow and red is set, if he does choose to play the skill shot, you'd fancy him to make it. I suspect if he's going to go for it, he'll go straight up for it. I mean, no messing about, no waiting. He could play position and look to move that yellow closest to the red out. That's his other option. He chose to play on the yellow by the black, which is another difficult ball to land on. And he's missed the cannon on the black, so now he's in no man's land.
Oh dear.
I suspect in Jon's mind, the reason he's played that positional shot rather than going up, that the one by the black is probably what he would consider the hardest ball on the table for him. That's how confident he would feel with those skill shots that he would have had to play at the top end. He didn't land on it anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't a shot to nothing exactly. He was very much taking that double on. He would have been very much in the game should that have dropped, but Zak Shepherd doesn't have anything straightforward from this position.
I think this red does pass the other one. It's a tricky pot. Well, it did pass, but he's missed it by quite a distance.
Just wonder with where that white ball's ended up, if he's actually ended up deliberately playing it. It did look like quite a way wide.
Yeah, and he has actually got the white into quite a nice position. If it finished a few more inches to the left, it would be better. He's putting Jon under pressure. He's going to have to go for this yellow into the left centre pocket. If it's a big pot, if it doesn't go in and it's a very tough pot, he's in trouble. Oh, he's not taking it on. I said this at the start of the last frame. Players seem to have had a very big tactical battle early in nearly every set, either the first frame or the second frame. And this set is no different. Already 5 minutes gone.
Do you reckon nerves are starting to play a little bit of a part, Simon, potentially? It's been a very edgy first frame, considering we'd almost got to the point where we were sort of in the flow of things in sets 3 and 4.
Possibly. I mean, this is the crunch time, isn't it? This is the time in the match where the players will probably be feeling it the most. Although I always tend to find that the nervousness from a match will sort of go once the match has started. Maybe the tension's building. decided to take the skill shot on from distance. It was a massive shot. A bit like the skill shot he didn't make in the previous set. He's missed it by a distance. They always look bad when you miss. You can see there the yellow caught the red about half ball, and he needed to catch it full ball. So that's why the yellow stays on the table. Free shot for Zak just to develop this red on the side rail.
And that should be, at this stage of the frame, for Zak Shepherd. And again, came into this as a bit of an underdog, really. That might be almost upselling it. Could be considered quite a large underdog heading into it. He's not only in this game, he's also now about to go ahead in the final set.
I think that's fair. I think Zak would have probably been honest and said that's probably the case himself. With everything that Jon McAllister has achieved in the game, he's the current world champion. There's no question that Zak started this match at second favourite.
Oh, that's not particularly friendly.
I don't think the pot's a problem. It's just more. It's more a case that you're just losing a little bit of control with the white. If the white finishes nearer the bulk line, it's easier to control. Now he's having to pot this thinner. It's how thick can he pot this is the case. Oh, he could pot it thick enough. Just use the jaw. Still a missable black.
This for 1-0 in the opening set. The closing set, I should say.
And in it goes.
There we go. Potting the yellow doesn't matter. It counts as a skill shot, as the black did go in. And Zak Shepherd takes the opening frame in the final set. Still a lot of time to work with for Jon McAllister. Reminder that the winner of this one will be the first name into the quarterfinals, and they will take on the winner of tomorrow's fixture. Gareth Herbert's in action. He takes on Chris Day.
That's a match that's got a very similar feel to this sort of match. You've got Chris Day, who's come over from the world rule side of the game against a former world champion in Gareth Hibbert. So there's definitely some similarities to tonight.
It's interesting as well that Zak Shepherd's moved his break across as the match has gone on. Started to struggle a little bit, and has found a little bit more success with the cut break. I say that.
Yeah, not this time. His break's definitely been the weaker of the two in terms of number of times he's made a ball off the break. Far more dry breaks. Also had a foul off the break as well. This is a beautiful split for Jon. There isn't a bad ball on the table. Every red has a pocket. In fact, every yellow has a pocket. It's really just a case of working your way around the table and controlling that white. Something we've not seen as much of tonight. We've seen a lot of cagey frames and a lot of frames that have needed a lot of work, but this is one where Jon knows he should. He minds his work. Tie the scores up.
Yeah, the number of dishes has been surprisingly small, I'd say. I think most of the frames have had both players at the table, which actually fairly rare.
To give you an idea of that, the players in the Premier League, so we're talking 10 of the best players in the world that were on the IPA Premier League, they were going at breaking dishing or reverse dishing off a dry break at over 50%. So over 50% of the frames were cleared up in the first visit to the table. So they're a long way down on that tonight, but that's to be expected with a bit of rustiness. And also there's the format plays its part in that. The shot clock is severe. The pressure they're under with the set clock as well, that adds to the pressure. So not completely surprising. I think as we go through this tournament and the players start to get more match sharp and get more practice in, we're going to see this standard really ramp up.
Well, this frame has taken next to no time in comparison to the last, and Jon McAllister is level in our final set. Been a hell of a game, this one, ladies and gents. Welcome inside the commentary booth. Stephen Jameson, Simon Webb here with you until the bitter end here tonight. It's been so entertaining, hasn't it? We hope you've enjoyed the return of live sports here on Freesports. Simon, has it lived up to everything you thought it might be?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it tonight. There's been some mistakes, but there's been some exciting ball, and that third set was absolutely fantastic. The drama in it really had me on the edge of my seat, and we've got more to come. I can't wait to see how this match is going to pan out.
Yeah, still everything to play for in the final 20 minutes or so of this one. There you see 18 and a half minutes or thereabouts remaining, which may feel like a long time, but once we get past the 15-minute mark, that time is going to feel very, very short indeed. Another dry break, this time from McAllister. The white has come out very kindly for him though. And I don't think Zak's got much to play on here, if anything.
Unlike Zak in the previous frame, who came up dry and left just a perfect table for Jon, Jon's had the opposite result. He has left nothing for Zak to go at off this dry break, and even if he'd left a pot on, there's some problems on the table as well. So this could be another tactical battle. And this could be the tactical battle that determines who goes through.
Made that one look very easy. He's still got plenty of work to do here, Jon McAllister.
Just made that look like it was hanging over the pocket. Just the casual plant down the rail. Just a ridiculously good shot from Jon.
It's almost blasé, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that deserved more. That yellow's not freed itself from that red far enough to be open to the top right pocket, I don't think. There's a lovely pot and cannon from McAllister, just wanted a little bit more on it, I think.
Yeah, that's not the first time tonight he's had that. When both players as well, when you're looking for a clearance and you're needing to nudge a ball out, and they've both just missed. They've both got the cannon and it's not quite come out enough, or they've missed the cannon. Neither are really flowing. The balls aren't helping them either. Looks like this time Jon is going to continue and try and find a way. So he needs an angle to try and develop that yellow, or possibly leave it as a double. Wonder, is he straight enough to screw up that side of the table? So he's playing on the one in the middle. Now he has the angle. I think he's got the angle to take the yellow into the centre pocket, come around 2 cushions. He's not guaranteed to land on the next yellow if he takes that shot on. Big shot.
This is a key shot in this frame, in this set, in this match. How's that come out for him? I think he's good. The next positional shot isn't necessarily the easiest, but he's in with a shout.
It depends. If he's straight, it's difficult. If he's just off straight that he can drift behind the last yellow, he's perfect. And it was well, he had the angle the wrong way, but he had enough angle to be able to create a position, arc round that red. And that's a lovely shot, but he is not out the woods yet, because I don't think the black goes to the bottom left, and he can't hold for it to the bottom right, so he's going to have to come twice across the table, avoid the reds. This is going to take some skill.
And play in the gap between those 2 reds on the left of the table to be able to see the black. This is a tough, tough shot.
Step 1 done, and step 2 done. Brilliant. What a shot from Jon McAllister. And you said this earlier, at the key moments he comes up with the big shots. That is the match on the line, and an unbelievable positional shot from Jon.
Yeah, you see the word there from Zak Shepherd. An almost understated good shot comment, but I think mainly because that will have hurt him quite badly. This is money from McAllister. Inch perfect on the black. Puts him ahead in the final set. Another of those big McAllister moments, which we may look back on in not an awful long amount of time. I think that was what made the difference.
Just about to say that the other thing with that clearance, it started off with that long plant down the rail that just he made look ridiculously easy. That really was an incredible finish from Jon, really taking the bull by the horns in this match. I thought that was going to be a drawn-out safety battle.
Well, Zak there going back to the straight break from the middle.
One visit, time running.
And he gets kicked in off there, which is unfortunate. It wasn't the tidiest break anyway. This is not a kind spread. Now, what can Jon McAllister manufacture from this shot here? Only got 15 seconds, remember now. We are into the final half of this final set. This is the spread he's got to work with.
I don't think he'll be very pleased with that. Reds have come out better than yellows, but he's not on a red, so he's going to have to go yellows, and they're a bit congested in the middle of the table. Although, saying they're congested, I think the two above the black go into the centre pocket, well, at least one of them does. He may have half a pocket for the other. The one by the black does go to the bottom left, and then so the one nearest the right-hand side cushion is the hardest ball, but it does have options.
Oh, it wipes its feet.
I think he can drift behind the one nearest the side cushion, either next shot if it goes past the one by the black or in a couple of shots' time. So all about precision here. Oh, he's missed it. Oh, he's dropped. I thought he missed that high for a second. He's got a nice angle to be able to land on the yellow he's nearest to.
He's almost found himself a rhythm here, Jon McAllister. You hear almost the rhythmic beats of that shot clock. He's not rushed by it. He's using every second of that 15 pretty much on cue.
I think he's just, well, I was about to say just about straight enough to hold for this yellow, but it looks like it's got a bit of angle. I don't think the reds come in the way for the yellow in the middle of the table. It hasn't. He's played on it. What a visit to the table, following on the previous visit to the table. This really is. This is a champion stepping up.
Yeah, when the chips have been down in this final set, Jon McAllister has gone all in. Simple black for 3-1. There's still enough time here for Zak Shepherd to maybe push for a black ball shootout, but he is now firmly up against the wall. Jon McAllister rattles off that frame to put him in with a very, very good chance here of taking down Zak Shepherd in round number 1 of the Super Series.
Well, from losing the opening frame in this set, he's gone reverse dish. That brilliant finish in the previous frame, which was his first visit to the table after the break, and then reverse dish. 3 great finishes on the trot from Jon McAllister to turn this set around.
Next frame, Jon McAllister to break, leading 3 frames to 1. 2 sets all, final set, time running.
Just get the sense that if Jon McAllister can hit a massive break here and hit a break and dish, that will be just about that. The power's there, the ball is there, and Jon McAllister's in with a massive chance here of really sealing this one, because 3 frames at this point is, well, we're entering into miracle needed territory.
Possibly his best break of the night as well, just continuing the form he's taken on over the last 3 frames. Really got through that pack beautifully.
Ten minutes of our match remaining here on Free Sports. We still have more to come on offer on this Friday evening. We head to Portugal upon the finish of this Super Series pool. Sporting Lisbon are in action against Paços de Ferreira. And you can catch that as soon as the action finishes here in the West Midlands. The way Jon McAllister is playing here, it is not going to be long until the action is finished here.
Hangs his head a little bit, he's short. You can see there the angle. The white is going to be just going away from the black. He has to die this in dead weight and make a trickier black than he wanted. He plays with a little bit of drag just to kill that white. He's on this black as good as he could be.
And this, for all intents and purposes, could be match shot. And Jon McAllister nails it. 4-1 in the final set. Big players make big moments matter, and Jon McAllister has done that in this final set when he has needed to.
4 finishes on the trot. Incredible stuff from Jon McAllister. He's a different player in the last 4 frames than he's been in the rest of the match.
Reminder of the schedule coming up on Freesports over the next 4 days. Gareth Hibbert in action tomorrow as the run of world champions continues.
Time running.
He'll be taking on Chris Day. Zak Shepherd needs a big break. He will be at the table. And there you see the clock ticking. He needs 3 frames to take us to a black ball shootout. He has 7.5 minutes, or there or thereabouts, with which to work. He needs to play quick, and he may well need a stroke of luck as well. One thing he has to play is perfectly.
Yeah, he has to play quick, but he can't rush. I know that sounds silly, but you can't. What he has to do here is make the clearance, and whatever happens from there, make it happen. He's still got 7 minutes 20 left on the clock. Don't risk trying to clear this up in 40 seconds. Try and clear it up in a minute, if that makes any sense. Don't risk the clearance for rushing. He's going to have to play the double. He's come up short, and he's squeezed off a little bit.
And he knew from that almost look of resignation there from Zak before he played that. He knew it was going to be tough. Not even sure if the double went past that red. And Jon McAllister, we talked about earlier how well he uses the shot clock, how good he is at doubling as well, by the way. That was essentially a straight shot for Jon McAllister into the pocket.
Yeah, he wasn't a half chance. He was expecting to make that.
It's worth a reminder that if Jon were to win this frame, it would make it 5-1, and it would end the match.
It's been very impressive from Jon McAllister in this last set. And this visit here, if he manages to get over the line in this visit here, what a turnaround in form from what he showed us in the rest of the match to come up with 5 straight finishes.
Looks different player. I say a different player. He looks like the player we know and love.
He looks like Jon McAllister.
Yeah, he's starting to stride about the table with that little bit more swagger and confidence. I think it's helped by the fact he's having to play a bit more quickly, but starting to play a lot more consistently. But he's ran into a little bit of trouble here because this red at the top of the table now needs dealing with.
Yeah, he didn't quite. He wanted to go past the yellow. Just flipped it. So he's going to have to play for another double. Not sure. Well, he's already had a go at this before. This is another one for the middle pocket. Hard to get on the black. Left-hand centre pocket. No, long way off. So it wasn't the perfect end for Jon, but he's still in the driving seat. Great shot from Zak. Still 5 minutes on the clock. Make sure of this. 3-4-2. We saw Simon Fitzsimmons win the grand final in just over 2 minutes. Back-to-back clearances. So you never know.
And what that will have done, Simon, as Zak Shepherd sweeps those balls to make it 4-2, is it just shows to a lot of the players that it can be done. You know, in theory, when players are knocking about on the practice table, any pro player can dish in 30 seconds if they really wanted to. But in a professional environment, cameras on against a top player, that Fitzsimmons clearance and the victory showed what could be done, and it just maybe gives someone like Zak Shepherd, well, I know this is possible.
Absolutely, and the crowd were absolutely invested and involved in that match as well, and that was just an incredible 2.5, 3 minutes of Paul.
Jon McAllister has made a ball he needed to. It's a dagger to the heart of Zak Shepherd's chances. He needed that to either come up dry or for Jon to go in off. Jon here can deal in time.
Yeah, sounds strange, isn't it? 15 seconds shot, but he'll make sure he uses the 15 seconds.
Yeah, we spoke about earlier how comfortable he is with the shot clock. It won't deter him hearing those beeps. Doesn't put him off. He's used to a rhythm now.
It's actually been quite incredible. At 15 seconds a shot, he hasn't looked rushed at all tonight. Okay, he hasn't played his brilliant best, but he hasn't looked rushed. He's looked in control, and that's probably the quickest we've seen him move, just as I say it.
Even if Jon only ends up getting as far as the black here and even ending up missing it, he's eaten so much time, it essentially makes the game over already. It makes the result academic. But of course he doesn't want to do that. He's going for the clearance, and that really will put it all beyond doubt. A 5-2 scoreline will end the match.
He's just straight enough to be able to just drop this in. And this is the final moments of this match.
This is it then for Jon McAllister. We've had 5 fantastic sets here. They've taken us almost down to the wire in this first match of the Super Series. But in the end, Jon McAllister gets himself through. It's been a thriller. It's been an absolute thriller. We've loved having you with us, ladies and gents. We hope you've enjoyed the first live UK sports back on Freesports since the lockdown began. Simon, just very, very quickly, we don't have much time until we head to Portugal, but what a game to open us up.
Absolutely brilliant. Both players, you know, they made mistakes, but they played their part in an absolutely brilliant match. And the way that Jon McAllister managed to find that extra gear in the final set, shows the champion that he is, and he goes on through to the quarterfinals.
Well, we cannot wait for Gareth Hibbert, another world champion, in action tomorrow, 7 o'clock tomorrow. Be there. We cannot wait to join you. Now it's over to Portugal, Sporting taking on Passos de Ferreira. We'll see you soon.
This programme is brought to you by Taom Billiards.